Suzuki Outboards, free admission and parking.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers. Learn more at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Cloudy skies for this afternoon and chilly with a high of 48, a little bit breezy. It's a cold night, cloudy skies down into the mid-30s. And tomorrow's a WRAL weather alert day. We could see a wintry mix north of I-85 as it begins. Otherwise, just expect a cold rain with a high of 40 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 133 points at 44,436.
That was a butt whooping. That was a butt whooping last night. Eagles straight crush the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. Don't let the final score fool you, folks, if you didn't watch. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Graham Hill producing the show. Don't worry, coming up at 3:30 today, we will take your calls. It is going to be a Monday sound-off. Just because the football season is officially over doesn't mean the sound-off's going to go away. We'll take your calls if you want to sound off on the Super Bowl, you want to sound off on your favorite college basketball team. UNC got a big win over Pitt, 67-66 this past Saturday. NC State lost again by a point. Another close one. Duke lost. Heck, I know some of you are Charlotte Hornets fans. How you feel about Mark Williams coming back home? What happened there? But we'll have that at 3:30 today. 919-860-5326, 919-860-5FAN. Again, 3:30 today. We will have a Monday sound off. But I want to start with last night. The old saying, defense wins championships, Graham. Graham Hill producing the show. Graham, you and I talked about this a little bit on Friday. about how both these defenses were good.
Yep.
Coming into this game. And that we actually might see some big defensive plays. I was hammering for it. Like, I wanted to see that. I didn't realize it was just going to be defensive plays from just one side. You could see early in the game, again, defensive styles, defensive philosophies, very different between these two teams. Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator for the Eagles, doesn't blitz hardly at all. He blitzed 0 times in this game. By the way, we'll get into that here in a little bit. Steve Spagnuolo, all the crazy different stuff. Hey, corners and safeties or whatever, all that stuff. Different style, different philosophies, and guess what? Both were very effective in what they got to this point for a reason. You could see early in the game that the Kansas City Chiefs was all in on stopping Saquon Barkley, the running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, and not letting him get any big plays. And guess what? It worked. It worked early in the game. Even now, I know early is a little different than later in the game when Eagles had a big lead and they were just trying to run clock and Kansas City was gearing up to stop it in that regard. But even early in the game, they slowed down Saquon. Didn't allow any big plays. If you were to tell the Kansas City Chiefs before the game, hey, you're going to hold a Saquon Barkley to 57 yards rushing on 25 carries, and his longest run was only going to be 10 yards, you probably would have been all in. You probably would have been all in. But here's the thing. Kansas City's offense did their defense 0 favors. 0 favors. Their offense sucked. Mahomes stunk yesterday. Kelsey stunk yesterday. DeAndre Hopkins dropping passes wide open. It was the front four of Philadelphia, that rotation of guys, that was the MVP of the game. As I mentioned a moment ago, Graham, the Eagles blitzed 0 times. One more time for the people in the back. They did not blitz once all game. Now, blitz defined as sending 5 or more pass rushers on a drop back.
That's insane.
0. None. Chiefs in the first half had 1 first down. It was on their very first offensive snap of the game. Their inability to move the ball just kept putting the Eagles back on the field, and it wore down Kansas City's defense. And really the turning point of the game, Cooper DeJean pick 6 with 7:03 to play. That made it 17-0. Because you thought in that moment, all right, Kansas City hasn't done anything, but it's only 10-0. It's the middle part of the second quarter. A couple big plays here or there, or one drive, you know Kansas City's right back in it. DeJean's pick 6 changed everything. Later in the half, Zach Bond, their all-pro middle linebacker, gets an interception. Philly gets the ball inside the 15, and they score just a few plays later. Before you know, it's 24-0. Like Patrick Mahomes, bad turnovers led to 14 points. Before you know, you're down 24-0. And Patrick Mahomes spoke about his costly turnovers early in the game being a key factor in the loss.
Threw 2 interceptions in their end. I mean, I threw a pick 6 and I threw a pick that they returned to the 5-yard line and they scored immediately after. So when you give a team 14 points, especially a really good football team, a Super Bowl football team, then not a lot of good things happen. And so that's why I take ownership in this loss more than probably any loss in my entire career, because I put us in a bad spot.
They had 1 first down in the first half. That's it. Start of the second half really was no different. Chiefs got 1 first down on their first drive of the half. They punted. Eagles get a long drive, ends in a field goal, makes it 27-0. Then 5 plays later, it's a turnover on downs. Again, Casey just 1 first down. And the very next play after the turnover on downs, deep shot, 46 yards from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith, nail in the coffin. Everything stat-wise that Kansas City got from that point, empty calories, inconsequential plays, nothing more. Nothing more. Don't look at the stats and say, well, Mahomes threw for more yards than Jalen Hurts, and look at Xavier Worthy at 150-something yards, 2 touchdowns. Nothing. Didn't matter. All inconsequential at that point. Game was over. When Devontae Smith caught that deep route, done. And we're early third quarter. Done. Either that or it's going to be the craziest comeback of all time. Again, the Eagles didn't send a blitz the entire game. 42 dropbacks by Patrick Mahomes. Again, this is according to ESPN, or sorry, ESPN, but NFL Next Gen Stats. 0 blitzes. Still got 16 pressures, 6 sacks. Most times, Mahomes has been sacked in his career. Mahomes with 3 turnovers. Also, according to the Next Gen Stats, Philadelphia also only ran man-to-man coverage twice on 42 dropbacks. Only ran man-to-man twice. They ran cover 4, which is 4 defensive backs deep. They did that 60% of the dropbacks. Folks, defense wins. Doesn't matter the sport. You got to be able to play defense. Simple as that. And I'm not just talking about like recency bias of yesterday. Let's not forget last year's Super Bowl where the Chiefs beat the 49ers in overtime. It was the Chiefs' defense that led them mostly to that title and that win. Mahomes and Kansas City's offense only scored 19 points in regulation last year against the 49ers. That's it. They only had 19 points. Again, that game had to go into overtime. It was 19-19. Let's not forget, a couple years before that, I know it was a 38-35 score. Well, that's high scoring. Let's not forget Nick Bolton of the Kansas City Chiefs fumble recovery for a touchdown. That tied the game at 14 for Kansas City. Got them back into it. Heck, the year before that when the Rams beat the Bengals, the Rams had 7 sacks against Joe Burrow in that win. Or even when Tampa played Kansas City and Tom Brady playing for Tampa Bay in that game, they pressured Mahomes all over the field. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions in that game, 0 touchdowns. Kansas City had 9 points in that game. So it's not just let's look at last night and say, hey, defense wins championships. No, it's a tried and true thing. You can have the hot, flashy offenses during the regular season all you want. But when it's down to the nitty-gritty, it's the defense that wins. By the way, at 4 o'clock when we do football at 4 Graham, I'm going to break down a little bit more about what the Eagles' defense is and how they've built it through the draft. For all the Panthers fans pounding the table for wide receivers, especially, hey, let's draft Tedero McMillan at 9. Nuh-uh. It's not how you build a championship team, folks. That's not how you build a team. If you already got a quality team, then yeah. But we'll dive into that more at 4 o'clock. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing the show. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, it's back. It's better than ever. Who wants to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle? Anybody out there? You should. The Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and the Carolina Hurricanes are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Pretty simple to win, folks. Just go to caniacsbike.com. Well, that's where you enter to win. Go to caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike right there. Again, custom built right here in Raleigh, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. Custom painted by Shiny Side Paint. Again, right here in Raleigh. So it's one of one. This is a one-of-one bike, folks, and it can be yours if you just go to caniacsbike.com. You can enter to win right there. Deadline to enter is April 6th. The bike's going to be given away on the ice, the last home game of the year. Imagine walking on the ice, last home game of the year, you win a motorcycle. Be pretty awesome. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. One team got a must-win this past Saturday. This team's staying alive. Nothing's guaranteed. Carolina got it done at home against Pitt in a nail-biter. I'll tell you why Carolina still has a chance to make the NCAA tournament in 4 minutes.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
In no way, shape, or form are the Dallas Mavericks title contenders. To me, it's more likely they don't make the playoffs than win a title. They're not winning a title. They're not getting to the finals. This is not a finals team by any stretch of the imagination. They got worse now and later.
I vehemently disagree. I think the Dallas Mavericks are closer to a title.
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it, and will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Oh, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. People are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. And the best part is, you don't have to traverse the inner city traffic. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Now at John Heister Chevrolet, get up to $13,000 off with Chevy loyalty on a 2024 Chevrolet Tahoe. Together, let's drive.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Now, February is the month of love. And we're all guilty of it, right? We wait till something like February happens to love those that maybe we've been neglecting or let them know how much we care. Have you been doing that to your rugs, your floors, piling up with dirt and grime and dander? Well, Zero Res wants to love your rug. Love your rug special right now. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Leggett wildly into the paint. Short! There's the horn! Carolina gets the win, 67-66. Finally, in one of these close games, the sky is Carolina blue.
That was a heck of a game on Saturday. UNC and Pitt. UNC gets the win, 67-66, and UNC earned the right to stay in the conversation to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large. Now, again, stayed in the conversation. I never said anything solidified. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly today. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill producing the show. I was there on Saturday at the Dean Dome. Back and forth game. 13 lead changes, 11 ties, and quite a few empty seats. We might dive into that a little bit more, Graham. UNC early in the game actually led 30-19 with just under 7 minutes to play in the first half, and Pitt was able to cut the lead down to 3, 35-32 at half, and the game stayed close throughout the second half. Like, no team really led by more than like 3 or 4 points in the second half. And Hubert Davis, head coach North Carolina, characterized the level of desperation the team played with in the win.
You should play like that every day. Every possession, whether it's shoot around, practice, game. That's when we talk. We always talk about it as a team. It's not a sense of urgency, but it's a sense of emergency to make plays on both ends of the floor, whether it's at the beginning of the game or at the end.
We saw them actually make a good defensive stop late in the game again. We'll dive into that here in just a little bit. Just like we saw them make plays late in that comeback win against Boston College, that level of desperation, urgency, emergency, however Hubert Davis wants to define it. But early in the game, Venal Lubin, an undersized center, was strong, especially, again, early in the game. Carolina's guards were getting inside of Pitt's defense, drawing help from the post, and the weak side help for Pitt really just wasn't there, and Venal Lubin was just there to cash in. He had 9 straight points for Carolina over a span of just over 2 minutes early in the game that put UNC up 12-3. Cadeau had a pair of assists. R.J. Davis and Ian Jackson all had assists on all 4 of the made shots there by Venal Lubin. All in the paint, all in the restricted area. I was actually kind of surprised, Graham, that Pitt didn't switch 1 through 5. We saw Pitt about a week and a half ago when they played in Pitt against North Carolina. They played in Pittsburgh. Switched everything, both on ball and off, and it forced UNC to be an isolation team. Now, maybe Pitt coach Jeff Capel was trying to throw UNC off guard a bit, understanding, hey, Duke did the exact same thing right after we did it, so maybe Hubert Davis with that full week off, get prepared. That's kind of the chess match of it. I mean, the game did come down to the final play, so it's not like it didn't work or this defensive strategy didn't work. Anyway, I was just a little bit surprised by it. So that's one thing that stood out to me. Something Carolina did tremendously well on Saturday. They took care of the basketball. Only 6 turnovers the entire game for UNC. And Pitt themselves only turned it over 9 times. There were 5 fast break points in the entire game. They were all 5 by Carolina. So it wasn't an up and down transition type game. It really was mostly played in the half court, which you would think, knowing UNC's philosophy and mentality, we heard Hubert Davis say it before the year, they want to be the fastest team from free throw line to free throw line. So there weren't a lot of fast break opportunities for either team. Pitt had 6 points off of the 6 UNC turnovers. UNC had 13 points off of the 9 Pitt turnovers. I know Pitt doesn't have the overall size that Duke does. I mean, no one does. But it was pretty dramatic to see the difference that a week makes, especially when you have a full week to emphasize certain aspects of the game. Against Duke, Carolina had 14 turnovers. Against Pitt, the last time that they played, which is the previous 2 games for UNC, they had 15 turnovers against Pitt. That was their last 2 games. Again, they had a week off or a week to prepare for this one. They took care of the basketball, simply put. When guards got inside, they were able to find outlets. They weren't careless with the basketball, weren't trying to make desperate passes. They just took care of the basketball so much better in this game against Pitt. Again, just a couple games ago, week and a half ago when they played Pitt, they turned the ball over 15 times. Just 6 this past Saturday. Where Carolina, Graham, almost lost this game, believe it or not, was the free throw line. That's where they almost lost this game. And I'm not talking about late in the game when Venal Lubin and Seth Trimble both missing front ends of 1-and-1s. Late. That gave Pitt multiple chances to either tie or take the lead in this game. Not talking about specifically that. The free throw shooting wasn't there in the second half at all. UNC was just 4 of 10 from the line in the second half. 4 of 10. They shot better from 3 in the second half than they did from the free throw line. 4 of 10 in the second half, and it gave Pitt chances. It gave them chances. But defensively, UNC was able to make plays down the stretch. Drake Powell, one of the freshmen, gets a steal with about a minute 15 left Gets a big-time steal with a minute 15 left. UNC goes down the court. They call a timeout. They draw up something. R.J. Davis actually finally makes the key shot. Something he really hasn't done this year when this team has needed it. He's able to dribble, get to the right elbow, makes his shot with 50 seconds left. Ended up being the final score of the game. 52 seconds left. Late in the game, Van Allen Lubin also pulls down a big rebound. He only had 4, but he pulled down a big defensive rebound late. UNC contested everything from Pitt late in the game. And Pitt never really got a good basket late. Pitt actually had the ball down 1 with 16 seconds left, looking to inbound the basketball. UNC's defense able to knock the ball away. The ball actually goes into the front court for North Carolina. Drake Powell tries to jump on it, goes out of bounds with 7 seconds left. Pitt maintains possession, doesn't get a clean look at the basket late in the game.
Reminded me a lot of the Boston College game.
Yeah, 100%.
Similar situation where Pitt kind of just shot themselves in the foot by not being able to inbound the basketball well.
100%. 100%. And that's something that, again, Hubert Davis, we heard that soundbite earlier, about the desperation, as he called not just urgency, but emergency. His words. Hubert Davis, also his words on being able to win close and also a physical game, but also having to carry that momentum into tonight when they play Clemson.
Well, we've been in a lot of these games, I think it's the 10th.
6 and 4 in one possession games.
One possession games, and so we've been there before. And, in the huddle, and on the court, I think one of the things that gives them confidence is that they've been in the situation before. Obviously, sometimes it hasn't gone our way, but there have been times that it has. And one of the things that I've told them, I said, you guys have the answers to the test. We just got to write them down on the paper.
You heard the stat there, 6 and 10 in one possession games. So that's 3 points or less. Perfect win? Perfect? No, far from it. But you got to win when you needed it. I said it on Friday. This was a loser-least town match. If you lost this game for 2 teams between Pitt and North Carolina that are on the bubble, it was a must-win game for both. To stay in the conversation. This isn't like, hey, win, you're in. This was to stay in the conversation. Because North Carolina, to me, still on the outside looking in. Now, that win yesterday helped a bunch, but they're still on the outside looking in, and you need help from people in front of you, but you're rooting for other people to lose. Now, North Carolina the rest of the way doesn't have a lot of quality games left. They just don't. They can't afford a loss between now and when they play Duke at the end of the year. They can't afford a loss. Actually, I take that back. They play number 23 Clemson tonight. We'll dive into that game a little bit more, but win on the road at Clemson today helps you a bunch. It helps you a bunch. That's going to be a tough turnaround. Speaking of North Carolina, by the way, we're going to open up the phone lines for a Monday Soundoff. 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. Graham, go ahead and hit the sound for the Monday Soundoff so the people know. I really want to know. Again, you can sound off on anything. 919-860-5326. Canes got a win on Saturday. NC State lost. Duke lost. Sound off on the Super Bowl. If you want to talk anything sports related, let us know. But also, I want to know, Carolina fans, I was there on Saturday. There are a lot of empty seats for a 4 o'clock game in Chapel Hill. A lot of empty seats for a home game against Pitt. Is there apathy setting in Chapel Hill when it comes to basketball? Monday Soundoff next.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly, and I want to help out all the fellas out there. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Bailey's Fine Jewelry wants to set you up to look good like a great point guard getting his shooting guard all the points and all the glory. They've curated a Valentine's gift guide to make your shopping experience seamless and impressive. We're talking top designers, heart-shaped jewelry, Bailey's collections that are known for their exceptional quality and personalized service. So visit BaileyBox.com for their Valentine's gift guide and pick out a well-chosen piece of jewelry that's not just a gift, it's a lasting memory. You could go with the flowers or the chocolate, but they'll be gone in a month. I prefer to think in championships, right? Banners, they last forever. Jewelry, that will as well, especially when you look at the necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets with a heart theme in mind from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. It's all at BaileyBox.com. Be sure to check out their Valentine's gift guide for more information.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. Only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
This Valentine's Day, if you really want to impress me, how about a romantic meal at home from the Butcher's Market? So we each get a juicy filet mignon, lobster tails, twice-baked potatoes, and 4 long-stem chocolate-covered strawberries. Pretty romantic.
Right. And the folks over at the Butcher's Market have made it so easy for guys like us. I just order online, and it'll be ready for pickup when I walk in the door.
So what are you waiting for? Visit thebutchersmarket.com now. Trust me, you'll be glad you did.
Well, springtime is on the way, and the next couple of months are going to be critical for lawn care. That's why we're back with Kevin from Fairway Green. Crabgrass, weeds, fertilizer, time to get busy.
Now's a fantastic time to put down your first application of crabgrass control, and if you have a cool season lawn, it's a great time to put down fertilizer and broadleaf weed control. Broadleaf weeds never stop.
Great advice as usual. Nothing beats a Fairway Green lawn. Request a free estimate online at fairwaygreen.com or call 919-329-0095.
Time to get ready for golf season, and Global Golf is ready for you. Global Golf is home to Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned golf clubs and can help every part of your game, from lessons, club fittings, and repairs. Don't forget, we take trade-ins. Bring in your current clubs and get store credit towards your new clubs. You're invited to Global Golf, open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We are a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come in, throw it in, and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there. If you ever need us, give us a call. Visit our website at newcombandcompany.com. As you always hear us say, your comfort is our business.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
Rolling out of the
the pocket. Mahomes lines right. It's intercepted at the 40 and picked off by DeGene, who comes to the near side, the 30. Got it back at the 20, breaks a tackle, the 10, the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown! Eagles have got a pick six.
To me, that was the game, or the play that really turned the game fully in the Eagles. Play of the game in my mind. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing. It's Monday. It's 3:30. It's time for a Monday Sound Off. Phone lines are open, 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. We actually already have a few callers lined up and ready to go. Let's go to Dean in Rocky Mount, who wants to talk not only Hurricanes, but also talk ACC basketball. Dean, fire away, sir.
It was a great win on Saturday for the Hurricanes. It's that early game. And honestly, I forgot it was a 1 o'clock game until like 10 minutes into the first. Thankfully, I did not miss any of the action. But I think the issue with the Canes the last couple of weeks is that they're trying too hard to make things happen, where instead of them playing their game naturally and things naturally come to them, they're focusing on, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And it's getting to the point where they are thinking about it too much and psyching themselves out from what they need to be doing. That, I think, is overall the issue that's been plaguing the Hurricanes the past couple of weeks since the illness started piling up. But I want to just take a little field trip around the ACC not in the places people normally go, because if you look at a lot of the background events during the weekend, it was a really good weekend for the ACC. I'll start off on Friday night, where the ACC had their weekly Friday night duels that featured the number, I believe it was 15 Pitt Panthers and the number 18 UNC Tar Heels. Going into that last matchup, it was 13-16 favoring Pitt, and Pitt was on a 16-0 run after UNC started off 13-0, and an unranked wrestler from UNC who had gotten pinned the previous week by Isaac Trumbull got a huge victory over Pitt's number 13 wrestler, Pitzer, in the heavyweight classification, and that forced it to a tie where it went down to tiebreakers, a.k.a. criteria, and UNC won because they had 3 more individual points than Pitt did. And that didn't stop there. It went to the following event on the ACC network, which was a gymnastics meet between Cal and Stanford.
We're just going to roll through the entire ACC of like all the sports here, Dean? Is that what?
No, it's just, I've only got 2 more stops. It won't be long. I'm going to summarize it quick.
Okay. I'll let you fire away. Keep going.
Going into the final routine, Stanford and Cal were neck and neck. Both teams had north of 197 points. And it came down to Cal's last gymnast, who hit a perfect 10 routine, which means there were no flaws in her routine, and that powered Cal past Stanford. And that was an amazing routine, and it powered Cal past Stanford. And then it goes to Sunday, where in the NC State-Florida State game, I'm adding this because I'm a State fan, NC State was beating Florida State so bad going into the fourth quarter. For half the fourth quarter, they turned the game off and started running sitcom reruns. That's how big NC State was up, which now NC State is a number 10 team in the country. And with that, I rest my time.
Well, Dean, thank you for the recap there. We'll actually dive in here into the Hurricanes here in a little bit, because our next caller, Taylor from Holly Springs, wants to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes as well. Saying, Taylor, am I getting this note correctly that the Canes lost the Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall trade? Am I getting this correctly, Taylor?
I believe so.
Okay, tell me why.
All right. Well, if you look at the stats from the past couple of games, ever since we received Rantanen and Hall, Natchez is absolutely killing it up in Colorado. And I think I know that he wasn't happy here on the Canes. He's not happy being a right wing. I get that he wants to be a center. I don't know if Colorado is giving him that ability. I haven't followed it that closely, but I do know that he's scored 4 goals since being there. And Rantanen hasn't done diddly squat for us. He has more penalties than he does points. Well, I guess equal points to penalties. Hall hasn't done anything. Granted, Jack Drury hasn't done anything for Colorado, but as of right now, Natchez is playing better for Colorado than he has for Carolina in the last 10 games of him being here. And and Rantanen, I don't know if he has to be with McKinnon to be at his very best. You could argue it that without McKinnon, he's just an average player. And yes, Natchez and him were fighting for most points in the NHL there at the beginning of the season, but at this point in time, Natchez is looking like the better player right now.
He is. I do not disagree with you on that, Taylor, but here's something I will ask you this, though. Would you rather have Mika Rantanen scoring in February or in May when the playoffs hit? I'm going to ask you this, Taylor.
Definitely May.
Exactly.
Definitely May. Absolutely.
So I think that's the thing we have to take into consideration of this as well, which, by the way, Mika Rantanen has played in 51 games in his career in Colorado without Nathan McKinnon, and he has 54 points in 51 games without Nathan McKinnon. So this is also something we have to take into consideration, too. It's like, yes, this is February. The instant return for Martin Natchez for Colorado has been awesome. It is. Two things. One, it's an easier system for him to play in. He's not asked to do as much responsibly on defense, and he's getting a lot more ice time. And he's also still playing on the wing. So he's getting more ice time, isn't asked to do a whole lot on defense, and he's been benefiting from that. And that's fine. But the playoffs is really where Mika Rantanen was brought in. He was brought in for the playoffs. Mika Rantanen in 81 playoff games has 101 points in 81 playoff games. Marty Natchez in 59 playoff games has 30 points. And that's not just because Nathan McKinnon is there. It's because it's a style of play thing. In the playoffs, you have to be able to win board battles. You have to win pucks in the corners. You have to be able to make plays below the circles, right? They say below the circles, below the faceoff dot, around the net. That's where Mika Rantanen is much better than Martin Natchez. Martin Natchez isn't a physical player that's going to win on the board battles. Martin Natchez loves having open ice where he can get full speed and wheel and deal. That stuff just isn't there in the playoffs. Mika Rantanen can play through that physicality. He's a bigger body guy. He plays through that. It's a just different style of players. So I always say this to Canes fans. If Natchez is doing great in February right now, that's awesome. Good. That's fine. Rantanen was brought in for postseason. And again, hopefully to have that long term. The Carolina Hurricane system is a lot harder to adjust to, and it takes more time to adjust to. We've seen players get here at the trade deadline, whether it was last year with Jake Gensel, or even saw it in previous years when, for example, even when Sean Walker was brought in as a free agent, or Eric Robinson, all these other guys, Jack Roslovic. It just takes time to adjust. It just takes time to adjust to Rod's system. Plus, all these guys were sick and throwing up on each other as well. So, yeah, the instant return on Martin Natchez for Colorado looks great. I want to see what happens in April and May, and hopefully June, because to me, that is the real deal. Let's go to Edward and Wendell. Edward wants to talk some Super Bowl. Edward, what you got, my man?
I think I'm a Chiefs fan. I think the main problem was the line just looked like it collapsed completely, and it looked. Joe Thuney was a state player, and it looks like he was on the state line this year and just came to the Super Bowl, and that's why I think Patrick Mahomes missed some of those throws. Like during late in the third period, quarter, I believe. I think he where we were on the goal line, it was like we were on the Eagles' 5-yard line, and then he throws it, but you can see on that left side it completely just breaks down, and then he actually gets hit while he's trying to move around in the pocket, and then throws it straight to Cooper DeJean.
Edward, you are making some tremendous points here. First of all, yeah, Joe Thuney, former state guy, just taking shots there at State's offensive line, which was not great this year. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But this is also a byproduct of the Philadelphia Eagles investing high draft picks. We're actually going to talk about this at Football at 4, Edward. Investing high draft picks on their defensive line. And they actually used one of their better offensive linemen, or two offensive linemen, their center and their right guard, to block Jalen Carter, leaving everyone else just kind of one-on-one, and Philadelphia simply was just winning their matchup one-on-one. That's all it was. So, yeah, Edward, you're 100% right. Mahomes was getting pressured all night. All night long, he was getting pressured. Spot on with that, Edward. And just taking shots at NC State. Whew, taking shots at NC State. Let's go to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Wants to talk UNC basketball, as well as some Charlotte Hornets.
All right. Hey, guys. How you doing? I just wanted to say first about UNC, this is my main point, is I do think their season's been very underwhelming, but I do think they're improving. RJ Davis seems to be getting in his groove a little bit. But my biggest point is I think they can't always play small. They play small a lot. They roll out with Ian Jackson, Seth Trimble, Cadeau, and Davis, and then Lubin as the five-man. I don't always like that idea. I'd like to see more of James Brown. I think he's a good player, and if he gets experience, I think he'd be really good. And I think we just need to run two big men and then three smalls, like maybe Withers and Lubin, Withers and Washington, Withers and Brown. I don't really care, but I think they should go bigger sometimes.
Well, let me ask you this, Isaiah. I know we'll get to Charlotte Hornets here in a second, but I want to ask you this question: if you take, or if you want to run two bigs, whether it's Van Allen, Lubin, or Washington, along with Withers or whatever that combination might be, whom from your perimeter do you take out? Because that's a big question. I know sometimes Drake Powell has run in that 4 spot because he does have a little bit of length, but who are you taking off the floor? Are you taking off Seth Trimble, one of your best defenders? Are you taking Ian Jackson off? Are you going to take Cadeau or RJ Davis off? I'm curious, if you're going to put another big in there, whom are you taking off?
I think I'm going to take off. I think I'll start the game small, and then whoever's hotter, I'll take off Ian Jackson or RJ Davis. Whoever's the hot hand, I'll run him, and then the other guy will sit. Because you got to have Trimble and Cadeau out there, and then one of those other guys.
Okay, this is where you kind of get into a little bit of a conundrum. Ian Jackson, believe it or not, actually has struggled. He had 0 points on Saturday. He had 0 points.
Yeah, so I think Right now I'd run RJ Davis.
I think also as well, Hubert Davis trusts his fifth-year guy. He just trusts him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to keep that guy on the floor. So I think RJ Davis is a lock to stay on the floor. Cadeau is your main point. So then, again, are you going to sacrifice, does Drake Powell run your 4? So, again, it's kind of the weird balance, but also you want to have someone that has the ability to guard on the perimeter and stretch the floor as a 4. And I think that's something that they just kind of don't have right now. I think that's kind of the thing that, Isaiah, I think they're kind of running into that. I think they're almost forced to play small. If you want to get your best players on the floor, you have to play that way.
Yeah, it's tough this year.
It is. All right, but hey, they're still alive. They're definitely still alive for sure. Clemson's going to be a big game for them tonight. I also hear you want to talk a little Charlotte Hornets. Fire away on your Hornets.
This is very quick, but I really liked what they've been doing this past couple seasons. Trading away old talent and getting young draft picks and stuff. But I did not even know you could back out of a trade if they fail a medical test. And I didn't even know that happened because I really was happy to get Dalton Connect. And I just wanted to hear what you thought on that because I didn't even know that could happen.
Yeah, so generally there are conditions in terms of trades. If a player is generally in all sports, a condition of a trade is that the player is healthy and that they quote-unquote pass a physical. Now, there's sometimes that condition can be waived. For example, like Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers. The Lakers can say, hey, we're going to waive that condition of passing a physical knowing that he is hurt right now. So that is something that teams can go ahead and waive. The interesting thing about this one, Isaiah, is that Mark Williams was playing games for the Hornets just before he got traded. So, well, wait a second. What part of this physical did he not pass? Unless there was just something that he's been playing through that they just didn't know, and they said, that's too much of a red flag for us. They can say, hey, he didn't pass our medical exam, our physical. This trade is voided. That is something that is in conditions of trade. But here's the kicker as well. Because it's past the trade deadline, you can't go back and rework the trade or try and do some different stuff. It's like, well, hey, you know what? We caught this red flag. Let's adjust adjust picks or whatever it is that you want to do. I was excited the fact that, hey, you got a couple assets. You got a young rookie in Dalton Connect, which I think would be kind of interesting to see how he will play with Brandon Miller when Miller comes back, as well as with LaMelo Ball. I'm like, that's a pretty decent 1, 2, 3 right there. And also just getting the assets that they got with the Cody Martin trade and everything. I'm really am surprised that this trade got rescinded. It just kind of caught everyone off guard again because Mark Williams had been playing. It's not like you are acquiring a player who's been hurt and you just have the understanding of, yeah, he'll get healthier. We're going to stash him away till playoff time or whatever it might be. This kind of blew my mind, but also it kind of left the Lakers struggling to find somebody real fast. 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. Phone lines are open for a Monday Soundoff. I also wonder this, Graham, as well. If you're Dalton Connect or if you're Mark Williams, the key pieces of this trade, you're just walking back into the facility. Does everyone treat you just like, hey, buddy?
I mean, it's literally
hey, welcome back.
It's literally the Simpson meme.
Yeah.
Where Grandpa Simpson, I'm forgetting his name, but he walks in the door and then just immediately walks right back out. I didn't know that was possible either. So thank you for explaining as far as, if you fail a medical test, that can recess a trade.
Yes. You can rescind the trade and you say, well, no, this is void. Didn't pass our medical stuff, whatever it might be. Like, hey, there's something that we caught. I don't know what it was or what it is, but it's just weird. But how awkward does that have to be? Like, if you're Dalton Connect and they're just like, hey, man, suit up, buddy.
No, dude.
Let's go play.
Imagine how awkward it is if, you never say never, right? So hopefully he left the locker room in some good spirits. But imagine if, after a game, he was kind of explicit this and just kind of went off on his teammates a little bit. Now all of a sudden he has to walk back into that locker room and face what he thought were going to be his former teammates.
Yeah. I mean, I think the teammates are going to be cool because they get it. Like, hey, the teammates didn't trade him, but you got to look at the coach and the front office and the general manager. I mean, you got to walk back in there and say, if you're Mark Williams, for example, when I hit free agency or whatever it is, you guys have already told me you don't want me. You guys traded me away or tried to.
Right.
Like, you guys have already done that. So who's to say that I want to stay with you long term? So it's just kind of messy. It really is just kind of messy.
Also, one thing that I want to touch back on from Monday Sound Off. Appreciate everybody calling in.
I mean, phone lines are
still open too. Our boy from Wendell.
Oh yeah.
Edward. Yeah. Shout out Edward, man.
Just taking shots. You have the soundbite? Did you pull the soundbite of him taking shots at NC State football?
I'm actually pulling it right now.
Okay,
we're gonna get the video up there soon on the fans' Instagram.
So. Yeah, young Edward from Wendell talking about the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes getting pressured. Referred to Joe Thuney, who's playing at left tackle. Normally he's a left guard, was playing at left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. Constantly was getting pushed backwards into Patrick Mahomes. And I think actually it was Thuney that bumped Mahomes on that second interception that he threw to Nick Bond. And sure enough, Zach Bond. But sure enough, Edward, young man, has this. Here's the soundbite right here, just taking shots at both Thuney and NC State. That's wonderful. That's wonderful from Edward.
I was not expecting that.
Edward, props to this young man.
And he sounds pretty young, too. He's got a bright future in sports radio.
And he really does.
He really wants it.
He really does. Edward, you do have a bright future in sports radio. Just in sports talk and sports media in general, if you come in with takes like that, Edward just crushing it. Absolutely just crushing it. Love that. That's hilarious. That really is hilarious. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Monday Sound Off. Mike in Morrisville. I think we'll talk a little hockey here. Four Nations coming up. Mike, you there?
Yeah, Micah.
Micah, my man Micah. Oh, yes. Fire away, Micah. What you got, my man?
Yeah, so today I saw that you saw it too, but Jarvis on a line with his favorite player, Braden Point, who's his idol, he says, and then Marchand, the biggest rat, but he literally shouted out that he wanted to play with Jarvis. So that's just pretty exciting that Jarvis gets to, experience that line. And then also, I don't know if you saw, but he's sitting between Crosby and McDavid in the locker room, which is insane. So he has a really good situation going for him. I hope when Travis Konechny isn't sick, that doesn't mean Jarvis is scratched, but I think he's going to bring a lot back to the Canes, and he has everyone knows he has a bright future, but he's probably a future A for the Canes, honestly, and he gets moved to the captain. And so, yeah, I think that's going to help a lot, and let's hope Rantanen gets rolling too.
I'm with you on that. And speaking of this, Micah, in terms of Seth Jarvis wearing an A, an alternate captain, on his sweater with, when Sebastian Aho eventually takes the C as the team captain, Seth Jarvis is growing. He is one of the faces of this franchise now, but in a couple years, you're going to see his face as the known person for this franchise, I think. Even though Aho might be the captain, I think Seth Jarvis is going to be known as the guy for the Carolina Hurricanes. And the fact that he has the respect level, Mike, as you mentioned, Brad Marchand for the Boston Bruins, tremendous player, is a rat, but a tremendous player. The fact that he says, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with that young guy speaks volumes to a couple things. One, his skill, but two, his mentality and the style of play in which he plays. And he plays the game, lack of a better term, the right way. He doesn't cheat on defense to create offense. He does all the nitty-gritty stuff. He goes into the corners. He goes to the front of the net, isn't afraid to get hit, kills penalties, scores on the power play, does everything. A truly complete player. Again, Braden Point, just one of the best point producers in the entire NHL. I can't remember for the Four Nations. I need to look this up. I think they might allow for the Four Nations as opposed to they might allow 20 players to dress, 20 skaters along with 2 goalies. I think they might do that because that's normally what they do in international play. I have to look and see if that's what they're going to do. I can't remember what that is because sometimes you might have an extra forward and an extra defender. But to me, Seth Jarvis is going to be a regular. He's going to play. He's going to be on the line. If he's skating with Marchand and Braden Point, they think super highly of this guy. But yeah, imagine being in a locker room right between Nathan McKinnon and Sidney Crosby as well. That's so awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of that. Maybe he should ask Nathan McKinnon, hey, what do we got to do to get Mikko going? Might have to do that. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Thanks to everyone who called in for a Monday Sound Off. Really appreciate everyone calling in. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up. Fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with the promo code RADIO100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Super Bowl last night. I want to caution Carolina Panthers fans. Don't be thinking all about wide receiver. Panthers need to focus on one thing and one thing only. I'll tell you what that is in 4 minutes.
The Adam Gold Show.
I felt like Philadelphia would win. And what we call that is, at least I do, blind squirrel theory. The game played out, sort of, as I thought it would.
Not
that
me.
never happens.
Chiefs look like garbage.
Well, I did not anticipate the Chiefs to be blown out.
Embarrassment.
But exactly what I thought would happen, happened. That never happened.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Get ready. The Chatley Boat Show and Sale is coming to the State Fairgrounds February 14th through the 16th at the Carr Scott Building. It'll be filled to the max with boats ready for immediate delivery featuring Suzuki outboards, shop center console, runabouts, deck boats, bass boats, pontoons, aluminum boats, and more, all under one roof. Boat Show only savings, discounts up to $12,000, factory rebates, and special financing on site. The Chatley Boat Show and Sale, February 14th through the 16th at the Carr Scott Building on the State Fairgrounds, featuring Suzuki outboards, free admission and parking.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Cupid's arrow is pointing straight to Bailey's. We're here to help and make it easy for you to find the perfect gift for the one you love. Bailey's has something for everyone and every budget. We have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts for under $500, from David Yurman, Apolita, Mikimoto, Lagos, and more. And if you're looking for something extra special, we also have an amazing selection of diamond jewelry. Shop in-store or online at baileybox.com. Give her a gift that's better than chocolate or roses with the easiest and can't-miss way to make her Valentine's Day extra special with a little black and white striped box from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Located in Raleigh's Village District and Crabtree Valley Mall, also in Cary's Fenton, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Just a little reminder from me, Marcy Bailey. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
Zero Res wants to give your home the love and attention it deserves. This month, get 3 rooms of carpets cleaned, starting at $109, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Weather.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We're looking at temperatures only in the upper 40s this afternoon, cloudy skies. What a change from what we saw yesterday. It's a cold night. We drop down to 35 under clear skies. And tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day. We may start with a wintry mix near the Virginia line, north of the Triangle. Everybody else just sees rain, but it will be only 40 for the high.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 166 points at 44,470.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing the show. For Football at 4, it's diving into the Carolina Panthers. And why the Panthers? Well, I want to relate it to last night's Super Bowl and really just the most recent things we've seen when it comes to the Super Bowl. And also ties in perfectly what the Carolina Panthers need. We all know Carolina Panthers sucked on defense this past year. Like, they were terrible. They gave up the most points in a season in NFL history. I understand there's 17 games as opposed to 16 or 14, whatever it was in the past. Points per game, still one of the 5th or 6th worst all time. They pick 8th. They have 9 picks this draft. Look what the Philadelphia Eagles have done over the last 4 years when it comes to drafting players. When it comes to drafting players, where's the emphasis been? Last 4 drafts, go back to 2021. Actually, I take that back. Let's work in reverse order. Let's go back 2024, we'll go back down to 2021. 2024, first round. I'm just going to go day 1, day 2. So picks rounds 1, 2, and 3 of the draft. Day 1 and day 2 of the draft. First round, Quinyon Mitchell, defensive back, had 2 interceptions in the postseason. Second round, Cooper DeJean had that pick 6 for a touchdown. That really, really was the play of the game for me in the Super Bowl last night. Oh, Jalix Hunt, third round, defensive end, had half a sack in the Super Bowl. Also had the second highest pass rush win rate of any Philadelphia Eagle yesterday. Defensive end. Go back to 2023. First round, Jalen Carter. 2 QB hits yesterday. Drew a bunch of double teams. Also in their playoff game against the Rams, pair of sacks. Nolan Smith, also a first-round pick last year. 4 sacks this postseason, had a couple QB hits yesterday. Third round, offensive line, Tyler Steen. Started a couple games this season, played in all 17, offensive line depth. Go back to 2022. First-round pick, Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, had a sack in the Super Bowl and had one in the NFC title game. Second round in 2022, offensive lineman, Cam Jurgens, starting offensive lineman, including moving over to be the starting center after Jason Kelce retired last offseason, made a Pro Bowl this year. Third round pick, linebacker Nakobe Dean, was their starting middle linebacker, got hurt in the 15th game of the season. Unfortunately for him, missed a chunk of time, obviously in the postseason as well. But was one of their starters on defense this year. Go back to 2021, first round pick, wide receiver Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, picked him 10th overall. He's good. Had a 46-yard touchdown reception yesterday. Their second-round pick, offensive line, Landon Dickerson, who's one of their starting interior offensive linemen, already has made a Pro Bowl. Third-round pick, defensive tackle, Milton Williams. 2 sacks yesterday as well as a fumble recovery in the Super Bowl. Also had a sack in the NFC title game. 12 players picked in the first 3 rounds of the last 4 drafts. 3 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, 3 offensive linemen, a linebacker. So 9 players that are around the football when the ball is snapped, as well as 2 defensive backs, 1 wide receiver. 8 defensive players, 4 offensive. 3 of those offensive players, linemen. You see the point here? 8 of the guys that I mentioned just now, hand in the dirt players. Hand in the dirt players are linemen. Offensive, defensive linemen, edge rushers. Why do you think a young man, Edward from Wendell, was calling out the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday on our Monday Soundoff, literally just 30 minutes ago, talking about, hey, Joe Thuney, who's been part of 4 Super Bowl championship teams, was playing at left tackle. Former NC State guy, looked like he was playing for NC State this year. Edwards' words, not mine. Hand in the dirt, guys. So, Panthers, when you pick at 8, you have all these needs on defense. And a draft from, by all accounts, is loaded with both interior defensive linemen as well as edge rushers. And even a couple decent linebackers that you can play off the ball as well. Where do you think you should invest your time and your assets? Right there. Hand in the dirt, guys. That's where it's all built. It's where it's all built. Even with this era of passing all over the place and all these crazy fantasy stats and numbers and all that blah, 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 blah. Still comes down to, can the guys with their hands in the dirt, the linemen, the people that block or brush the passer, those interior guys, how good are you there? How good are you there? If you're great in those spots, generally you're a pretty good football team. We've heard Dan Morgan, we've heard Dave Canales talk about it starts with the ball, building the team from the inside out. This defense for Carolina, this team really, but this defense especially has so many holes. So many. Yeah, you're getting Derek Brown back, but you still need at least another starter to go on that defensive line, along with Derek Brown and A'Shawn Robinson, at least one. Edge rusher, yeah, DJ Wannell came on strong last year after he came back from his quad injury as well as a blood clotting issue. You still need someone opposite of him at minimum. It's not Jadeveon Clowney. It's not. Can't run that back. So there's 2 guys right there. Yeah, Trevin Wallace had a pretty decent rookie year. 3rd-round pick coming in for Shaq Thompson, who got hurt. And there's still Josie Jewell there, but you still need more there. Like, you have to build through that. Panthers still need a starting center. Is there someone that you can develop behind Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis that eventually, if one of those guys gets hurt, can step in? Or if Taylor Moton goes down, can you find that offensive tackle of the future on your right side? Taylor Moton ain't going to play forever. He's about to turn 30, 31 years old. You still don't know what you're going to do with the future of Vicky Ekwonu. Look at the team that just won the Super Bowl. They've drafted in the first 3 rounds over the last 4 years, they've drafted 1 skill guy. 1 in the first 3 rounds. Now, I understand they traded for Jahan Dotson from the Washington Commanders. I think they traded a 3rd-round pick. I know he was a former first, but they didn't draft him. You went outside and got him. A.J. Brown wasn't a first-round pick. I know you traded a first-round pick for him. But you had that opportunity to do it. But you still invested in the draft on those positions, that part of the field. That's what matters. That is why this defense for the Eagles was so damn good yesterday. They were drafting some of these defensive tackles when they still had guys like Fletcher Cox. No relation. They had a great defense. They had a great defensive line. They said, yep, we're still going to put resources into it. So Dan Morgan, you have 9 picks this year. And a class, again, reportedly, by all accounts, loaded with guys that put their hands in the dirt. Focus there, then build out. Let's not spend all the cap money and other assets to go after a T. Higgins. Don't need to draft Teteroa McMillan at 9. I understand Bryce Young needs a number 1. You're not winning games 35-34 because your defense stinks. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Who is the top team on the podium? Of the 4 ACC schools here in the state of North Carolina, who had the best week last week? We award the podium as well as we have our ladder challenge next.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
This Valentine's Day, if you really want to impress me, how about a romantic meal at home from the Butcher's Market? So we each get a juicy filet mignon, lobster tails, twice-baked potatoes, and 4 long-stem chocolate-covered strawberries. Pretty romantic.
Right. And the folks over at the Butcher's Market have made it so easy for guys like us. I just order online, and it'll be ready for pickup when I walk in the door.
So what are you waiting for? Visit thebutchersmarket.com now. Trust me, you'll be glad you did.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade and we're seniors now, so I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Josh Shefflin on the right, got to the baseline, slipped and fell down. With everything happening out there, how in the world was the floor not dry?
How did that happen?
Duke slipped up against Clemson this weekend, 77-71. That you heard was actually Dave Shoemate and the Blue Devil Sports Network, which actually you can listen to on Buzz Sports Radio when Duke basketball plays. I was Cooper Flagg late in the game, 73-71, driving to the basket and slipping and falling as he was driving down the lane. Wet spot on the floor. It stinks. It's unfortunate that happened. I'm actually happy that he didn't get hurt because that kind of stuff can actually get a little bit scary. But before we dive into the podium, Graham, it's time for a little ladder challenge. So on Friday, Graham, you and I did a little ladder challenge. 2 picks for the Super Bowl. How did your picks turn out for the Super Bowl? What did you have?
Not good at all. I had Saquon Barkley anytime first quarter touchdown score just because I thought, well, if Saquon doesn't score in the first quarter, I'm kind of concerned with how the Eagles stand a chance as far as winning this football game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that didn't matter. They went on to just absolutely railroad the Kansas City Chiefs, which did not help my second bet at all either. My second bet was Patrick Mahomes over 250 passing yards.
Well, he threw for over 250.
He did?
Yeah.
Even
he threw for
loss.
257. Yeah, all that stat padding at the end, it all counts, sir. What were your odds on that?
Thank the Lord for stat padding.
What were your odds on that one? Do you remember?
Let me go back and check my book. I had it at -110.
-110. Okay.
-110.
So you
wow,
actually
that makes me feel a lot better.
You actually beat me, sir, in that regard. Because my 2 bets were Patrick Mahomes to be 2+ touchdowns, passing touchdowns at -180. That hit. And I had Juju Smith-Schuster as catching a touchdown. That did not go through, sir. So you actually won the ladder challenge.
Wow.
This whole time you thought you lost, but, sir, you won.
That's what happens when you put all your chips on the table for that Saquon Barkley bet.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of people money, including myself. But Patrick Mahomes still coming up big at the very end. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the long run, but it matters for me in the ladder challenge, I guess. So.
Hey, it matters for you. You won because of Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs did not win because of him, but you did, sir.
Thank you for being a good sport. You could have easily just put that under the rug and said, yep, Graham, you lost both your bets this past weekend.
Graham, I like to have integrity, All right, so you're up 1-0 during this temporary ladder challenge that we have. Because of you are leading, you go first, sir.
I'm going to go.
Give me 2 bets, 2 picks for tonight. Doesn't matter what the odds are. Give me 2 picks for tonight.
I went your route. I had to pick one in the middle of the commercial break. I'm going to go on the hardware tonight for the Boston Celtics at the Miami Heat. Give me Jason Tatum to register a double-double plus 135. Has hit in 4 of his last 4 games against the Heat specifically. So I don't know what it is against Miami. Maybe it's just that Eastern Conference old-school rivalry feel that allows him to go off, but hopefully he'll register a double-double.
Okay, what's your next pick?
My next pick is going to be I had it and then I lost it. Al
Horford?
Thank you. Under 1.5 3-pointers made plus 110. Has also hit in 4 of the Celtics' last 4 games against the Heat.
Okay.
So I need Tatum to just have a all-out heater performance. Horford, not so much.
Okay. I'm going to go to the hardwood as well because generally I go hockey as my go-to route, but everyone's kind of on pause with the 4 Nations getting underway. Everyone's just on break, so no NHL games for me to look at. So I'm actually going to the LA Lakers. Luka Doncic making his debut for the LA Lakers tonight. Give me Luka Doncic. I'm doing both Luka Doncic picks. Luka to score 25-plus points. That's a -215. And I'm also going to go Luka Doncic 9+ assists. He's going to want to share the rock with his new teammates as well. So give me, that's actually a +155. So
that's not a bad bet at all.
So yeah, two separate bets right there. So I'm going to go Luka Doncic on these ones. Because, the whole sports world needs something to watch now. It's going to be Luka tonight.
Yep.
Going to be Luka tonight.
Won't be Anthony Davis for a while, unfortunately, for Mavs fans.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Non-contact injury.
Go figure. Anthony Davis' long list of injuries in his career. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. It's the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. It is Monday. We look back to the week of ACC basketball, men's basketball in the state of North Carolina. And Graham, we set the podium. The podium, we have a gold, a silver, a bronze, and someone gets left off the podium. We look at the 4 ACC schools in the state of North Carolina. State, Duke, Carolina, Wake. We take a look at them all. We look at the last week. So just from Monday of last week through Sunday of yesterday. Men's basketball, who had the best week. Not everyone gets on the podium. Off the podium, NC State. 0-2 this past week. They lost Saturday 74-73 at Stanford. Also, they lost a couple days before that at Cal 74-62. Graham, it's rinse repeat for NC State.
Yep.
Against Stanford, came down to the wire and right back down to the wire once again. And sure enough, they come up a little bit short. But Kevin Keats, their head coach, said, hey, you know what? Despite the loss, he did think that Saturday's game was one of the best games they had played in a while.
Obviously, we lost the game, but I thought it was the best game that we played in a while. Where I felt like everyone played together. We shared the basketball, 10 assists. We made the right play, and I didn't think we had a lot of guys forcing shots. When their lead grew to 5 or 6, we didn't panic, and normally we panic, and obviously the score get away from us.
They did not, and actually had good looks at the end. They were down 72-71. Dontrez Styles takes a three-pointer, top of the key. Shot gets tipped. But Trey Parker, ball comes right to him inside the lane, down low with a bunch of other big guys around him. He's a guard. Gets the rebound, puts it back right there in the paint, gives NC State a 73-72 lead. Now, Stanford on the ensuing possession with about 16 or so seconds left. Ryan Agrawal gets a pretty clean look. Driving right down the lane. The help defense wasn't there for NC State. Relatively easy layup with about 8 seconds left for Stanford. Again, the help defense just wasn't there. I thought that shot could have been contested much harder. But with about 8 seconds left, Stanford goes back up by 1. NC State advances the ball to the front court. They call timeout, 4.3 seconds left. Graham, this is something that we have talked about so much this year, about late game execution for NC State. Who's going to have the ball? What are you running? Because it seems like we don't know. And it also appears like they don't know. But this time they actually put the ball in the hands of Marcus Hill, drives left-handed down the lane. This is something that Marcus Hill does. He drives to the basket. That's his forte. And that's what he did. Left-handed, ball on the floor, drive to the basket, straight down the lane. Draws help defense, draws a second. So he has 2 guys on him. Trey Parker working off ball on the baseline, goes to the left corner. Marcus Hill makes the perfect pass, makes the right play. Trey Parker in the corner, puts up a 3, rattles out. Great look for the freshman. I'm not going to put the blame of them losing the game on Trey Parker. I'm not doing that. It was a clean look. Ball just rattled out. Literally just rattled inside the rim like 4 times and popped loose. We've seen sometimes that shot kind of rattles in, maybe hits off the backboard and comes right back in, and it goes through. Just didn't fall for him. Trey Parker, by the way, had another strong game. Again, had a clean look at the buzzer, just rattled out. Parker's really come on strong, especially when you go back to the Duke game. But he had a career-high 19 points, led NC State on Saturday, was 5 of 8 from 3, 6 of 11 overall, 5 assists. So a lot of career highs for that young man in that game on Saturday. And Kevin Keats, the head coach for NC State, actually did talk about the team starting to evolve around or evolve with some of their younger players.
Some guys are growing up, and Trey has really established himself as obviously a guy who deserves the minutes and playing well. And we're throwing some of the young guys in the mix. And Ish, obviously, because Brandon not being here, and I didn't think Ben had a great trip. I thought Ish was a bright spot for us. This one's tough because we're right there. We got a great look at the end. We wanted to put the ball in Marcus' hand, send Dontrez off a couple stagger screens. Marcus saw opening, drive the ball, and he drove the ball. And then Trey was obviously did a great job getting to the corner, and I thought we got a great look.
It was a great look. Ish, referring to Ishmael Doof, who's one of their backup big men. Brendan Huntley-Hatfield did not play in the game once again. Ben Middlebrooks, their starting big man, was in foul trouble a lot. Only played about, I think it was 13 minutes, Graham, in that game. So Doof had to play a whole lot. So that was a big part of the game, Ben Middlebrooks not being in there. But nonetheless, young player, Trey Parker, Really showing a lot of growth over the last couple weeks for NC State. But they are 0-2 on the week, so they are off the podium, which leads us to our bronze, Graham. Duke basketball. Duke on the bronze. Just 1-1 on the week. They beat Syracuse this past Wednesday up in the Dome easily, 83-54, but they lost to Clemson on Saturday, 77-71. Graham, you and I talked about this on Friday. It felt like this could be the game in the ACC where Duke slips up.
Yep.
It felt like that. We kind of this. I don't know what it was, but this might be it. Clemson, who's by the way now number 23 in the country in the latest AP poll, they're looking to bounce back after the loss to Georgia Tech, and it was pretty much inevitable that you're gonna slip up. You're gonna lose at least once in conference. It's like Thanos, inevitable. We've looked at their schedule the remaining of the way for Duke, and it's okay. Well, they have a home game against Wake. There's that chance. On the road at UNC to end the year, rivalry game. Always has to factor into that. And their only other tough game in conference that's left, and it's on the road, is Clemson, the game they played on Saturday. So yeah, it's like really only a couple logical games left for them to possibly slip up, and this is the one where they got caught. Duke defensively gave up 40 points in the paint. Not a very strong defensive effort overall. And John Shire, the head coach, talked about the defense, well, the lack thereof, the defensive performance, you should say, was a key factor in the loss to Clemson.
First half, they shoot 68%. Second half, they shoot 52%. We just couldn't get enough stops on that end of the floor. I thought they got some critical offensive rebounds, too, where we just had to grab them, and that was throughout the game. And our guys did, they made some big-time winning plays because they're competitors and gamers, but just overall, our defense wasn't good enough down the stretch to get stops.
It wasn't. It was a relatively tough day for Kama Malawash. Just a couple of points for him. I think also Duke missed Mason Gillis, their transfer from Purdue, their graduate senior. Their transfer from Purdue didn't play. He's been dealing with an illness. Actually didn't play, if I remember correctly, didn't play against Syracuse either. So just dealing with an illness. So didn't have him. So a little bit lighter on defense, I guess you could say, without having that key piece. Really, they're kind of like their 6th, 7th man for them. So yeah, they struggled a little bit defensively, and also Cooper Flagg struggled in this game. Hey, guess what? He's human. Cooper Flagg is human, Graham. I don't know if people knew that, but Cooper Flagg is human.
Knew he was 18 years old.
Barely. He should still be a senior in high school. But Cooper Flagg did struggle in this game up until about 5 minutes left. He only had 4 points. Now, late in the game, he tried to will his team coming back. I know John Shire actually talked about the game. Flagg maybe just was a little bit of wear and tear from the amount of minutes and physicality that he's been playing over the last several games, 5-6 games of the season for Duke. And maybe just had a little bit of wear and tear factor on it. John Shire did talk about Cooper Flagg still giving them at least a chance to take the lead late, but not being able to capitalize.
I wish I knew what to say on that. I thought Cooper had the advantage to the basket, and it's a shame that happened. I believe in him so much. I thought he was going to make a play, and he really willed us at the end, just with his shots and competitiveness, and I got to help him more.
By the way, Duke in this one, the play that he's referring to is late in the game. Duke's down 73-71. Cooper Flagg has the ball, driving down the lane, driving right-handed, driving down the lane, trying to get to the basket, for a layup or drawing contact or something, looking to tie the game. Gets down towards the low block, just hits a wet spot on the floor, just his feet give out, slips, gets called for traveling. It's an unfortunate thing that happened. I'm happy, honestly, that no one got hurt, because that's the kind of thing where someone slips and then all of a sudden a knee gets twisted or, ankle gets rolled, whatever it might be.
Look at Zion Williamson a couple years ago. That was initially the first thing I thought of. Thankfully, it wasn't the case, but as soon as I saw him slip, I went, oh no.
Yeah.
Like flashback moments.
He popped right back up and he was frustrated. He's like, really? And you heard it actually, if you're on our rejoin, you heard the call from Dave Shoemate and the folks on Duke broadcast. Like, how do you have a wet spot on the floor right there? Like, how do you miss that? I mean, there are people designated to make sure that there are no wet spots on the floor. Even when plays going down on the other end, it's hard to see on television because you only get half of the court. There are people on the other half of the court that are like down on the ground, like with towels and mops and stuff, drying up the floor to prevent this stuff from happening. It's unfortunate that it did, but I was looking at it as, okay, late game situation for Duke. Ball's in Cooper Flagg's hands. You're down one possession. How do you come back and close this thing out or potentially tie the game and take the lead? How do you handle this situation? We haven't seen it a whole lot other than early in the year.
The first thing I thought of was, okay, they're going to see how much Cooper Flagg has grown since that late game situation against Kansas earlier in the season when they gave the ball to Cooper Flagg late and he couldn't capitalize. So I was thinking on the road, hostile environment, you're trailing, winning streaks on the line. Let's see how much Cooper Flagg's grown. And unfortunately, he just didn't even get the chance to get a shot up because of the wet spot that was on the court.
I'm with you. It looked like he made the decision going to the basket the right way. His approach, I should say, was the right thing. All right, so that's bronze. Duke gets the bronze, states off the podium, which brings us to silver. North Carolina gets the silver. They were 1-0 this past week. 1-0. A big 67-66 win at home against Pitt. And honestly, a game that they needed. Graham, you and I designated that game. We called it the loser leaves town match. UNC continues to earn the right to say, hey, we have a chance of making the NCAA tournament as an at-large. I understand you can win the ACC tournament and get into the NCAA tournament that way. I get it. But that ain't a guarantee. Carolina needs as much help as possible in front of them to make the NCAA tournament. Because right now, there aren't a lot of big quality wins for North Carolina this year. They're just not. They're only 1-9 in quad one games. 1-9 in quad one games. Yeah, you're 5-0 in quad twos, which is good. But 1-9 in quad ones doesn't help you one bit. 14-10 overall. This team needs to keep winning games. And they have a tough one tonight. A player I want to see bounce back, Graham, especially if you're Carolina, you want to see kind of have a bounce back performance. It's Ian Jackson. 0 points. 0 points for Ian Jackson, their young freshman guard from New York. He's a really good basketball player. We saw him get hot where he was scoring 20-plus points a night, it felt like, for about 5 or 6 games straight. But things have cooled off. I think it's also a byproduct of teams getting more tape on you. They start to see your tendencies, and they know, like, okay, this guy's scoring a whole bunch. What is this guy doing? Like, how do we neutralize him as a perimeter threat? I would like to see him get a bounce back. Drake Powell had 10 points off the bench for North Carolina in that game, and also had a couple big defensive stops. We talk about the R.J. Davis game-winning shot that he made with 52 seconds left, where he was able to dribble himself into a spot that he likes to shoot from, pull-up jumper from the right elbow, knocked it down. But it was a Drake Powell steal that got them the ball late. When his team was down 1, it was Drake Powell's defense that set up, eventually, R.J. Davis getting that shot. So Drake Powell was big late in the game on both ends of the floor. But they got a big one tonight. You beat Clemson. That helps you so much. Because Clemson right now is ranked 30th in the net rankings. You're going on the road. This is a quad one opportunity for Carolina. Big time quad one opportunity. Go on the road against number 23 Clemson. You have to not only physically bounce back, because that was a physical game against Pitt, where they had 13 lead changes, 11 ties. Physical game that you had. Now you got to go on the road. Short turnaround on the road down to Clemson. Not going to be easy. Not only do you need to physically recover, but also emotionally as well. And who's not to say, Graham? Clemson, after their win against Duke, fans stormed the court, all that stuff. Hey, feeling good that they themselves don't have the letdown. Brad Brownell has got to make sure his team is ready just as much as Hubert Davis is going to be, because Clemson feels like they're a lock for the tournament. I want to say it's 100%. Obviously, the bottom could fall out for them, but they're firmly in, it feels like. but a win for Carolina is going to be huge. This is a big game. If you're a basketball fan, ACC basketball fan, this is a massive game tonight.
I always appreciate the mental aspect of a game like this. And
yes.
Dennis, you can attest to this as a former athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what this feels like?
And coach.
This feels like what North Carolina wants to experience come March. This feels like an NCAA tournament quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
You had to kind of empty the tank a little bit in that win against Pitt. Came down to the wire. Now you got to flush that out. You got to get off that high. And same thing for Clemson. You just upset number 2 Duke at home. You got to wash that out, come off that high, and now get ready for this quick turnaround. If you're North Carolina, this is perfect because this is what you're going to want to experience. And honestly, you might have to play like this come the ACC tournament.
Well, you're going to play like this ACC tournament, but if you get into the NCAA tournament, you said exactly right. This is what you're going to get. You play a tough, physical, emotional game. 2 days later, you're right back at it. You are. And guess what? Pitt, you're going to face a team like Pitt in the NCAA tournament if you get there. I mean, Pitt's a bubble team as it is. But Pitt's a team that you'll face in the tournament. Obviously, for Clemson's sake, Duke was a team obviously you're going to face in the tournament. But Clemson and North Carolina, these are two tournament teams, I'll say air quotes in there. Yeah, you're going to get this in March. You're going to get it in March if you make the NCAA tournament.
If you find a way to win this game tonight for Hubert Davis, you might want to just take your team to the rec center 2 days later and just let them play pickup against
against somebody.
Cities. Just start getting to the mindset of quick turnaround games.
Well, I mean they don't have the week off stuff. I don't think really much anymore.
No, they play
again. Actually, they play again on Saturday at Syracuse,
and then Wednesday against NC State.
Yep. So for North Carolina, your chances for quality wins the remainder of the year are tonight against Clemson and at the end of the year against North Carolina. The other 6 games in between, you got to have those. Which actually bleeds, so that's our silver. Leads us to our gold, our top of our podiums, Wake Forest. Wake Forest, top of the podium. Wake Forest, 2-0 this week. 2-0 this week, that's why we give them the gold. They have wins over both Cal and Stanford. 79-73 at Stanford, 76-66 at Cal. Those were their 2 games that they played this past week. And for them, it's also rinse, repeat, dare I say, for Wake Forest, but in a good way when it comes to Cam Hildreth and Hunter Salas. Hildreth had 22 points against Stanford, 23 points against Cal. Salas had 19 points against Stanford, 20 points against Cal. That backcourt duo playing lights out. They need wins. As much as Carolina, as much as Pitt, they need wins, and they don't really have a lot of quality games left. They have to win at SMU. That's one of the games they have coming up in a couple games. They have to win at SMU, a team that's also on the bubble of the NCAA tournament. And a win at Duke at the end of the year certainly is going to boost things. But they have to win at SMU coming up later on. But they're the only team that went 2-0 this past week. That's why we're going to put Wake Forest on the top of the podium. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Graham Hill producing. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free this time next week. Again, I'll say it again. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now, easy for me to say, with no hard credit pull. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. In 4 minutes, I have a caution for Panthers fans coming up.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Now, February is the month of love. And we're all guilty of it, right? We wait till something like February happens to love those that maybe we've been neglecting or let them know how much we care. Have you been doing that to your rugs, your floors, piling up with dirt and grime and dander? Well, Zero Res wants to love your rug. Love your rug special right now. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and my friends at FanDuel are here to remind you that we are almost in March. That's college basketball's month, and right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 extra bucks, somebody else's money, to bet on everything from conference titles to tournament upsets, even who's going to be cutting down the big nets. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. That's FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Get in on all the college hoops action before March takes over. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
First and 10 with the shotgun snap to Mahomes. Crumbling pocket hit. Ball charged free. It's loose. The Eagles trying to get it, and they have on a fumble by Mahomes. His 3rd turnover.
I have a caution for Panthers fans. Major caution for Panthers fans. Don't let the fact that I saw this floating around online yesterday. Hey, Panthers took the Eagles to the brink. Panthers took the Chiefs to the brink in the regular season. Hey, Panthers were close against both those teams. Don't let that fool you into thinking that the Panthers are just right there on the edge. That the Panthers are just right there on the edge. Because they're not. Don't let that fool you, folks. Because I look at the Carolina Panthers, again, They lost at 3 points. Graham, I know you were at the game as well. We're at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lost by 3. Last-second field goal. Chiefs had the ball with 2 minutes left. They just drove right down the field, used up the rest of the clock. Easy field goal, walk-off. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, you had a late drive where Xavier Legette has a pass go through his hands, which would have put you potentially in the lead. They lost that game by 6, 22-16. That touchdown would have tied the game. Who knows what happens with an extra point? There's also still time left on the clock, so you never know what Philadelphia is going to go do. Quick drive, field goal, Jake Elliott, walk-off, done. You don't know how that's going to happen. But I will caution Panthers fans by saying this. The Atlanta Falcons also took Kansas City close, only lost by 5 in that game, so a one-possession game. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Eagles earlier this season, another team in your division. You know who else was very close against the Kansas City Chiefs this year? Only lost in a one-possession game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost that game by 6, 30-24. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers earlier this season beat the Eagles 33-16. More than doubled them up. Those teams have plenty of flaws. I understand you beat the Eagles. I'm sorry, you beat the Falcons once this season. They also beat you as well. And you lost twice against Tampa. Hey, I know one of that game went to overtime. The one at home did. But do not think just because you took both of the teams that were in the Super Bowl and you played them close that you're there. You have to look at for example, the first win for the Panthers this last year, they beat the Raiders 36-22, blew them out, and Andy Dalton starting. You know who also played the Chiefs close right after you? The Raiders. Lost to them by 2, 19-17. Also played the Chiefs close. Don't let it fool you, folks. That's my caution. And I also hope it doesn't fool the front office either. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Because even if you look back and say, well, hey, we lost by 3 to the Chiefs. Let's say they actually pull out a win there. Okay, there's one. Hey, we almost beat the Buccaneers at home close. Okay, well, that's another win. Hey, we almost got a win against the Eagles. Okay, there's another. That's 3 straight games that you lost super close. Then you lost to the Cowboys, got blown out by them. So even if you flip those 3 wins or those 3 losses into wins, you're still only 8-9. You're at best a 500 team. The Panthers did not beat a team this season as strong as they finished the year. They did not beat a team with a record above 500. Now, I know the Cardinals and the Falcons, the reason they both finished 8-9 is because you beat them, so they finished 8-9. I'll say 8-9 is a 500 team. You didn't beat a team above 500. The best wins that you had this year in terms of other opponents' record, an 8-9 Cardinals team and an 8-9 Falcons team. You beat the Saints. They stink. You beat the Giants. They stink. You beat the Raiders. They stink. Do not be fooled by the fact that you played close in a league that's built for, quote, any given Sunday, anyone can do anything, that you're that close, because you're not. You're not. I hope Panthers fans don't look at yesterday and say, well, gosh, the Eagles blew out the Chiefs. We almost beat the Chiefs, and we almost beat the Eagles. We're right there. You're not. That's my big caution to Panthers fans. You're not. Doesn't mean you eventually can't be. Not saying that you're not incapable of being there eventually, but you're not as close as you think you might be. You don't have the roster to compete with the Philadelphia Eagles. You just don't. Yeah, you played them close to that game. Doesn't mean overall you really have the roster to compete with them. You don't. The team has so many holes, so many flaws, Again, I saw this floating around yesterday from people in the media and fans. Man, Panthers play both these teams tight. Who else could say that? Well, actually, I just gave you two of them, and they're within your division. And they finished ahead of you within your division. Tampa, Atlanta, beat the Eagles. And they played the Chiefs close. You almost, keyword, almost won, but you didn't. I caution that to Panthers fans. I also caution Panthers fans on this too. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, was given permission to seek a trade. Given permission to seek a trade to another team. I also caution Panthers fans and also the Panthers about this. What cost? What does it cost to take a guy like Deebo Samuel? I love the thought of him. I really do. But again, what is the cost to go ahead and bring in a player like Deebo Samuel? If you look at Deebo Samuel, his contract, he has a salary cap hit in 2025 of $15 million. But then they have a bunch of, he's 29 years old. He's in the last year of his contract. He'll be 29 this coming season, last year of his contract, $15.8 million cap hit. And then to spread the cap hit out, the salary cap hit, the 49ers, way they structured his contract, there's a bunch of these what they call void years. Basically, they're dummy years tacked on the contract where the player can go sign with other teams, but allows you to spread a salary cap hit out over several years, even after the player is no longer with your team. So in 2026, it's a $13.7 million cap hit. In 2027, $8.9 million cap hit. 2028, $7 million cap hit. 2029, $3 million cap hit. Like, you want to take all that on, too, for a player that's 29 turning 30? That you might only get him for 1 year? Where are you spending your money? On a 29-year-old receiver? Again, I like the player a lot, but you don't have the luxury and the ability to make these kinds of plays for a player like that because of the money. If I'm a team that's in win now mode, sure, I make that move. Panthers aren't in that situation. Again, I love the thought of having Deebo Samuel on the team. I love the thought of wide receiver T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals on the team. But if you devote money or too much money into your offense and not enough into your defense, guess what? You're going to be losing a lot of games in shootouts, just like you did this past year, where you lost a lot of games. Hey, the offense put up 26, 27, still lost. Heck, look at the Cincinnati Bengals this year. Joe Burrow had like a career year in terms of stats. You had Jamar Chase, who led the league in both receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Oh, and that T. Higgins guy that a lot of Panthers fans are clamoring for, you had him too. That team won 5 straight games just to barely miss out on the playoffs. It was a shootout every single week because they had no defense, even though they had Trey Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks this year. And their defense still couldn't stop anybody. You want to be that? Because what'd that get you this year? Leave for Cincinnati. Nothing, because they had no defense. You got to have a defense if you want to win. So again, I caution Panthers fans about wanting to pursue high-priced talent on the offensive side of the ball. You have to put together a defense of some kind if you want to be competitive. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing the show. On the other side, we get to our starting five, including looking back at Super Bowl 59. Carolina, the Tar Heels, get a big-time win. Also, the Carolina Hurricanes also got a much-needed win. Starting five coming up.
Move your sports day forward.
They felt that they couldn't get there with Marty Necas and Jack Drury. That's what a trade is. It wasn't going to work with those two guys. But perhaps With Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, it does work. And maybe that window just got a little bit bigger. Time will tell. Time will tell. That is the biggest elephant in the room. This is a new era of Carolina Hurricanes hockey.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. Guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Cupid's arrow is pointing straight to Bailey's. We're here to help and make it easy for you to find the perfect gift for the one you love. Bailey's has something for everyone and every budget. We have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts for under $500, from David Yurman, Apolita, Mikimoto, Lagos, and more. And if you're looking for something extra special, we also have an amazing selection of diamond jewelry. Shop in-store or online at baileybox.com. Give her a gift that's better than chocolate or roses with the easiest and can't-miss way to make her Valentine's Day extra special with a little black and white striped box from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Located in Raleigh's Village District and Crabtree Valley Mall, also in Cary's Fenton, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Just a little reminder from me, Marcy Bailey. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
Looking for a new vehicle? Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford is one of the only dealerships where you can shop all 4 brands under one roof. Get unbeatable deals on new and pre-owned vehicles. Our expert service department keeps you on the road, and our full body shop handles any repairs. It's all here at Wilkinson, where quality and convenience come first. Drive with confidence, drive with Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC on NC 87 South in Sanford, or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We'll see increasing clouds tonight, 34 by daybreak. Rain is likely for your Tuesday, the high 39. In the morning in our northern counties from Raleigh north into Virginia, there could be a light wintry mix. Rain is likely Tuesday night.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day up 167 points at 44,470.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Graham Hill producing. Before we get into the starting five, text the keyword FEST, F-E-S-T, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 27th. Again, text the keyword FEST to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 27th. All right, Graham, let's jump right into it. Let's get right into the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Burns, a chance for Jarvis. He scores! It's a power play goal. Carolina takes the lead. Seth Jarvis notches it.
Power play goal. We finally got one, Graham. We also got a shorthanded goal in this game as well. 7-3 Canes win on Saturday afternoon against the Utah Hockey Club. Not against the Utah Jazz, but against the Utah Hockey Club, Graham. We talked about it on Friday, the day before the game, about how sometimes these matinee games, things can just kind of go off the rails in some weird ways.
Yep.
And I think I said the word weird about 12 times when describing it. But oftentimes in these matinee games, you get weird there it is again. You get funky bounces. You get odd caroms off the wall.
Fights, scrum.
I mean, just all kinds of just stuff that you normally wouldn't expect in a game. The puck hits the skate of the ref and pops right out into someone's stick and gets a breakaway. Crazy stuff happens. And we actually saw, I went to the early part of the game before traveling out to Chapel Hill, and there were some times where a puck got dumped into the offensive zone, or I guess Carolina's defensive end, and it just takes a weird carom off the boards, it kind of hits the little stanchion, this little area between the glass, and just pops out into the middle of the ice. We saw those kinds of plays. Kochetkov rimming the puck around the net, and just Carolina not able to come up with it, and he's just sliding back in net, doing the splits, stick out, making a save. But you know what? I will say this, though. All in all, 7-3 win for the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday. Something that they needed. Again, the power play scoring, Seth Jarvis being part of that. He had a big day, as did Sebastian Aho. Jalen Chatfield was awesome.
Yep, got the scoring
defense. Jalen Chatfield had a tremendous game. Also, Mikko Rantanen did not play, lower body injury, which Rob Brindamore said, hey, you know what? It is what it is. Like, it wasn't, it's not anything long-term you got to worry about, but it felt like more precaution than anything. But not a long-term thing, nothing serious. But Mikko Rantanen didn't play. So you're playing with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen again. It's been a weird few weeks. Been a weird 3 weeks for the Canes as a whole. And with illnesses, injuries, the trades, things have been uneven in that regard. So for them to go into their break with a win like that, had to feel good. Had to feel good for sure. All right, that's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Makes it left side. Parker for the win. Halfway down, popped out. Popcorn down, an evil bounce. Would have been a walk-off buzzer beater.
Tough one for NC State. They lose 74-73 at Stanford on Saturday. Graham, go and pull up the soundbite from Kevin Keith saying despite the loss, he thought the team played their best in a while. Let me know when we have that ready. Sorry I didn't prep you on that one. But they did lose 74-73 to Stanford. And I thought, all in all, they played a pretty solid game. They actually, late in the game, it felt like they actually had a plan with what they were doing on that late drive. Here's Kevin Keith saying despite the loss, again, he thought his team overall played pretty good.
Obviously, we lost the game, but I thought it was the best game that we played in a while. Where I felt like everyone played together. We shared the basketball, 10 assists. We made the right play, and I didn't think we had a lot of guys forcing shots. When their lead grew to 5 or 6, we didn't panic, and normally we panic, and obviously the score get away from us.
Late in the game, Dontrez Styles, team's down 1. Waning seconds of the game, under 30 seconds to play. Dontrez Styles takes a 3. Ball gets tipped, so partially blocked, but it goes right into the paint. And right there is Trey Parker. Collects the ball, gets a rebound. NC State's up 1 with 16 seconds to play. Then Stanford comes down after a timeout was called. They push the ball down the floor. 8 seconds left. They score. So literally 16 seconds, they get the ball. And with 8 seconds left to play, so in that stretch, they score on a relatively easy layup. I thought State just didn't contest that ball strong enough. But they themselves, they inbound the ball, they get to the front court, they call a timeout with 4.3 seconds left. Keats draws up something. Marcus Hill gets the ball at the top of the key. They're trying to his right, run Dontrez Styles off a staggered screen. And then Trey Parker's running baseline to the left corner. Marcus Hill sees an opening, drives left-handed down the lane. I was like, this actually feels like the most under control or the
well
most
put together.
Yeah, exactly. Most well put together that we've seen State late in these game situations in a while. It's like, oh, they have options. We have drive. We have a couple passing options, whatever it might be. And Marcus Hill, doing what he does best, drives down the lane. Left-handed. Draws a double team from 2 big men. And Trey Parker running off the baseline. The guy that was kind of following him steps up to Marcus Hill to contest. Marcus Hill kicks it out to Trey Parker in the left corner. And you heard the soundbite as we were coming there. It popcorned out. It rattled inside the rim and popped out. It was a good look. It was a really clean look for Trey Parker, who's a freshman. It just didn't fall. It just didn't fall for him. He was good. He had a career day. Hit 5 3-pointers, 19 points, career high, 5 assists, career high. I'm not going to saddle that young man with the loss. The dude played his butt off. He led the team in scoring. There's some other things that didn't go well for NC State. Ben Middlebrooks was in foul trouble again. And you didn't have Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, so Ben Middlebrooks was sitting on the bench a ton in that game, which didn't help them at all. So yeah, State overall played a pretty good game. But this has been a rinse and repeat. Close there in the end, but not able to pull through. It's been tough sledding for NC State basketball. And with this another couple of losses, they're still sitting there on the outside looking in about making the ACC tournament. They're on the outside looking in because you look right now, Clemson's is in second place behind Duke. Duke 12-1 in the conference. Clemson and Louisville both 11-2. Wake Forest is 10-3. Right now, those 4 schools have byes to Thursday of the ACC tournament. But Boston College is 2-10, NC State's 2-10, and Miami's 1-11. Those 3 schools are all behind Notre Dame, who's 4-8 in the conference. 4-8 for the 15th seed in the conference. The bottom 3 in the ACC don't make the tournament. So yeah, NC State had a chance for another win to put yourself within striking distance. They still are. It's getting harder by the day for NC State. All right, that's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Drive Shefflin on the right, got to the baseline, slipped and fell down. With everything happening out there, how in the world was the floor not dry?
How did that happen?
Yeah, little rough moment there for Cooper Flagg and Duke late in the game in a 77-71 loss on Saturday at Clemson. Graham, you and I talked about it on Friday last week that it felt like if there was a game where Duke would slip up this year, this seemed like the one they were primed to do it. Because you have they have the rivalry game at the end of the year where they got to go to Carolina. Wake Forest at home is not going to be easy. But you're on the road against a desperate Clemson team that's trying to bounce back after a bad loss to Georgia Tech. This felt like the one where, hey, you know what? They might slip up a little bit on this one. It's hard. It's inevitable that you're going to lose at least once in conference. I know undefeated teams have happened in the ACC conference before, but it's been a couple decades. It's not like it's a regular thing. Yes, is it, capable, but wasn't expecting it to happen. And they slipped up.
No pun intended.
No. Rim shot on that one. Graham, pull up the John Shire talking about Cooper Flagg, if you can. Okay, Graham, give me the thumbs up. Here's John Shire talking about Cooper Flagg giving his team a chance late in the game, but not able to capitalize on that final play where Cooper Flagg was driving to the basket and slipped on a wet spot on the floor.
I wish I knew what to say on that. I thought Cooper had the advantage to the basket, and it's a shame that it happened. I believe in him so much. I thought he was going to make a play, and he really willed us at the end, just with his shots and competitiveness, and I got to help him more.
Tyrese Proctor gave him a lot of help. Led all scorers, or at least for Duke on Saturday. But when it comes to Cooper Flagg, and I looked at the game and I was watching, and I was like, all right, this is an opportunity for Cooper Flagg. And for Duke, all right, how do you handle a late game situation when your team is down? We really haven't seen them have that since they played Kansas and Kentucky early on in the season. Generally in games late, if it's been close, they've had a lead. So one of the big, lack of a better term, knocks on Cooper Flagg in those games against Kansas and Kentucky when he had the ball was trying to do too much, trying to dribble too much to get to a spot, or I'm going to try and back down in. Again, trying to do too much. When I used to coach college lacrosse, I used to tell my attackers, or just my players on the offensive end, in those situations, if you have the ball, it's one move and go. Like one dominant, strong move and commit and full go. Like one strong move and go. And it felt like when Cooper Flagg was driving against Clemson, he had the ball top of the key, he's going to drive down the right side of the lane. It was a strong move and go to the basket. And again, he had an advantage, as John Shire just said. Looked like he had an advantage. Looked like he had about a half a step on his guy. Looked like he could have gotten a layup. Or at least a shot where you can draw a foul of some kind and get to the line. But he hit the wet spot on the floor, so we'll never know how actually that's going to play out. Or at least get himself into a position where if he sees the defense coming, he had options, whatever it might be. But he made one strong move and go, which I think is the most important thing. Again, we don't know how it would have turned out because there's a wet spot on the floor and he slipped and fell. Nothing you can do about that. It's unfortunate. It stinks. That shouldn't happen, but it did. I'm not going to sit there and pound the table and be like, you got screwed. Not going to say that because, again, there's no guarantee. It was 73-71 at that point. Okay, Cooper Flagg, let's say he makes that shot. There's no guarantee Duke wins.
Might be looking at overtime.
Exactly. You're looking at overtime where Clemson goes down the floor and scores and they win. I mean, Clemson still scored 4 more points because, Duke fouling trying to get the ball back, but Clemson still scored 4 more points down the stretch. So, again, there's no guarantee that it would have won them the game. They still could have lost. He could have missed the shot for all we know. But, unfortunately, he slipped and fell. It's what it is. Duke lost. They fall from number 2 in the AP poll to tied for number 3. Not a big deal. There's still going to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's just what it is. Duke's going to be a 1 seed. Now, question is for them, because it's been a while since they've lost, how do you rebound? How do you bounce back? And really, they don't have any tough competition until they play Wake and North Carolina at the end of the year. In the ACC, that is. They still got to play neutral site game against Illinois, which I think is a good thing for them, having another tough game coming up relatively soon. But Duke eventually was bound to catch one here.
They play Cal Wednesday night at 9 p.m.
That should be a win.
I feel bad for the Golden Bears coming into Cameron Indoor Stadium after this loss.
Yeah. And no Mason Gillis in these last couple games. Illness, not able to play. All right, that's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Leggett wildly into the paint. Short! There's the horn! Carolina gets the win, 67-66. Finally, in one of these close games, the sky is Carolina blue.
Carolina finally did win a close game, 67-66. You just heard the call from the Tar Heel Radio Network. That's Jones Angel with the play-by-play for North Carolina. I was at that game, and I'm not going to lie. If you're just an innocent bystander watching that game, highly entertaining. 13 lead changes, 11 ties in the game. Carolina got up 11 with about 7 minutes to play in the first half. Pitt shot away at that lead, got it down to 3 at halftime, 35-32. And the lead was never really more than 3 or 4 after that point. It was just back and forth game, back and forth game, back and forth game. And Hubert Davis did post-game talk about being able to win close games, being able to physically handle a game like that, but also having to bounce back and carry that momentum into a game tonight against Clemson.
Well, we've been in a lot of these games, I think it's the 10th.
6-4 in one-possession games.
One-possession games, and so we've been there before. And, in the huddle and on the court, I think one of the things that gives them confidence is that they've been in the situation before. Obviously, sometimes it hasn't gone our way, but there have been times that it has. And one of the things that I've told them, I said, you guys have the answers to the test. We just got to write them down on the paper.
Well, they had the answers on defense late in the game. This is something that we saw against Boston College, and we saw it again yesterday, Saturday. Was late in the game when Pitt was trying to inbound the ball just to get shot, just to get some sort of look. It was not a clean inbound with about 16 seconds left. Not a clean inbound. UNC almost comes up with a steal, but Pitt got the ball with just under 8 seconds left, 7 and change left on the clock in terms of seconds. They were able to actually get an inbound, but everything was contested. They contested right there, 3/4 court where the ball was inbounded all the way down. Pitt was just unable to actually even get a clean look at the basket late in the game. We heard after the Boston College win, which came in overtime, where Boston College couldn't even get a shot off late. It was the commitment and motivation defensively by Carolina. The reason why they were able to get that stop. And this is like, well, why hasn't that been like over the course of the full game? Where's that been? But I actually thought defensively they were good. Carolina took care of the ball themselves. They only had 6 turnovers in the game. Pitt only turned it over 9 themselves. When Carolina played Pitt a couple weeks ago, they turned the ball over 15 times in that game on that loss on the road at Pittsburgh. But this one for UNC was much needed. They had to have it against a team that was on the bubble, Graham.
I want to go back and reference what Isaiah, I believe from Holly Springs, when he called in earlier for Monday's Soundoff, said about how there's been improvements for Carolina throughout the season. It's just taken a little bit of game situation to see it. And you mentioned the inbounding. Early in the season, they were playing that tough non-conference portion of the schedule, especially on the Maui Invitational, Champions Classic against Kansas. Carolina, to me, was one of the worst inbounding teams in the country, both offensively and defensively. Now in the ACC, you've seen it where they've made it difficult in a late-game situation for Boston College to inbound the basketball, and now against Pitt. That's an improvement itself. Again, why they don't play like that all the time, that's still on Hubert Davis and the rest of the coaching staff to figure out. But if they can just start to stack improvements on top of each other for the remainder of the season, who's to say they can't win out and make a run deep in the ACC tournament?
Well, they need to. We'll dive into this a little bit more tomorrow because, again, they play Clemson tonight. If they win out the rest of the way, obviously beating Clemson tonight and all the other ACC games they have and winning against Duke at the end of the year, they're locked. They're in the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. But a win tonight is going to help them a long, long way. They only really have a couple of quality games left. It's Clemson tonight and it's Duke at the end of the year. That they really have quality games in terms of building that tournament resume. Now, again, wins in the ACC tournament will help, but yeah, there have been improvements in some of those aspects, like you mentioned.
Is it sustainable?
But I don't know if it's sustainable, but it's like, is it enough?
Yeah.
Is it enough right now? Like, can you do enough between now and the end of the year to make sure that you are not a bubble team in the NCAA tournament? And a win tonight against Clemson, 7 o'clock, would help a bunch. All right, that's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
The bench is empty. The teams converge, and this one is over. And the Eagles have beaten the Chiefs convincingly in Super Bowl 59, 40-22.
And it really wasn't even that close. 40-22, the Philadelphia Eagles taking down the Kansas City Chiefs last night, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably watched in some way, shape, or form. It wasn't close. Not in the slightest. I know a lot of people were wondering if, or maybe even hoping, even if you're not a Chiefs fan, man, how great would it see a team win a 3rd straight Super Bowl? Like, how cool would that be? To witness something that we've never seen before. Now, I know the Green Bay Packers, when they won Super Bowls 1 and 2, have won the NFL championship the year before that, before Super Bowl 1. So it really wasn't, because you saw the AFL and the NFL. So this is, pre-merger and all that stuff. So the first team to actually win 3 straight Super Bowls, that was at stake. This is also an opportunity for the Philadelphia Eagles to obviously avenge their loss from a couple years ago against the same Kansas City Chiefs. It felt like yesterday, Graham, for a lot of people that may not have had a dog in the fight. I don't know about you, but it felt like for a lot of people it was, I really don't want to see Kansas City win. And I really felt like a lot of people were relishing in the fact that they got their butts kicked.
Well, we talked about on Friday going to the game, and for our pro wrestling fans out there, they understand they're the heel of the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And so who was going to be the Cody Rhodes to finish their story and beat the Kansas City Chiefs at the Super Bowl of WrestleManias, or the WrestleManias of the Super Bowl, whichever way you want to phrase it. And we thought the Eagles had a chance. I just don't think we expected them to be that dominant. Again, don't let the final score be reflective of how just much of a dominant performance it was. To me, the eye-opening thing was we talked about how the one thing that Kansas City was struggling with this year was offensive play, but they were just finding a way to get it done. And then when you really think about how many one-possession games they won this season, was it going to be sustainable? Was it going to be enough? And obviously it was not. The Kansas City Chiefs offensive line got exposed yesterday, and the Eagles were able to do it without that much of an impressive performance from Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley only 57 yards on 25 carries. Now, he had 6 catches for 40 yards, so it's not like he was completely ineffective, but Kansas City defensively was locking up on him. If you want to talk about a player, Graham, about their story, like the hero's journey to get to this point, it's Jalen Hurts. You got to think back at Alabama. Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback at Alabama. Started in a national championship game. Ends up getting benched.
Great point.
Ends up getting benched. Tua comes in. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts himself at one point had to come in and save a game for them in the playoffs.
Yep.
But he transfers out, goes to Oklahoma. Things don't work out there in Oklahoma. Gets drafted in the 2nd round. Wasn't a starter from the get-go. So he went from national championship starting quarterback at Alabama to bench, transferring, 2nd round, eventually becomes the starter, because remember, Carson Wentz was still there.
Yep.
Eventually becomes the starter, gets it to a Super Bowl a couple years ago, doesn't quite make it. A lot of people just wanting to tear the team down. We'll get into that here after the numbers game. But eventually finds himself as a Super Bowl champion, which is pretty remarkable. It's a pretty remarkable journey for him. I mean, it could have been over and done for him after college. But, man, props to that guy. Really, he's seeing him in the locker room after the game, just literally just sitting down on the ground with the Lombardi trophy just right there in front of him, puffing his victory cigar. He was just soaking it in. And also the moment, I think it's either his fiance or his wife just out there on the field. You can just tell there's this true sense of joy and relief on the field. It was pretty remarkable to see. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We need a couple numbers game contestants, Graham. Our prize for the numbers game Win an Adam and Eve gift basket. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so spice up your love life with a trip to Adam and Eve. Visit any 6 Triangle Adam and Eve locations where pleasure begins and passion never ends. We need 2 contestants, 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. We have an Adam and Eve gift basket. A little something for everyone in there. 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Now, while I'm out of the studio trying to figure out how to be a parent of 2, a toddler and a newborn, I think all the parents can back me up on this. Babies are expensive. And if you're a parent out there and you maybe need to upsize, right? Growing family needs a growing space, which means you're in the mood for a mortgage. Miller Lending is the place to call because they understand babies are expensive, and they want to get your monthly payment as low as possible. They don't want to take all those closing costs out of your pockets that are so often associated with mortgages. So stop paying to buy down rates, stop paying closing costs at all, and instead give Miller Lending a call. 919-447-3377. Imagine all of the diapers you could buy, because that's where my brain is right now, if you didn't have to pay closing costs on your mortgage. 919-447-3377 or MillerLending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damask from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And you know, we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Bonuses used to be everywhere. Boxes of cereal, a baker's dozen, airline upgrades, even without quadruple diamond platinum status. Life is better with the bonus. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery is adding bonus chances to multiply your win on Multiply the Cash scratch-offs. More chances than ever to win over $140 million in total prizes. Because everything is better with a bonus. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.31 to 4.86. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This Valentine's Day, if you really want to impress me, how about a romantic meal at home from the Butcher's Market? So we each get a juicy filet mignon, lobster tails, twice-baked potatoes, and 4 long-stem chocolate-covered strawberries. Pretty romantic.
Right. And the folks over at the Butcher's Market have made it so easy for guys like us. I just order online, and it'll be ready for pickup when I walk in the door.
So what are you waiting for? Visit thebutchersmarket.com now. Trust me, you'll be glad you did.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. February is the month for love. And everybody's going to be getting down and dirty. Well, if you had to get down and dirty on your carpets and floors, would you be afraid of what you might see or smell? Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, it's also the biggest air filter in your home. Get your house Zero Resified and get all those scary smells far away from where you should be having a wonderful month of love. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned, starting at $109 and $100 off air duct cleaning this month from Zero Res. It's going on until February 28th, so visit ZeroRes.com or call 919-995-0000. That's ZeroResRaleigh.com or 919-995-0000. Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards, it spells the same.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Duralee Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Time to get ready for golf season, and Global Golf is ready for you. Global Golf is home to Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned golf clubs and can help every part of your game, from lessons, club fittings, and repairs. Don't forget, we take trade-ins. Bring in your current clubs and get store credit towards your new clubs. You're invited to Global Golf, open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It's time for the numbers game. On the line, we have an Adam and Eve gift basket. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so spice up your love life with a trip to Adam and Eve. Visit any 6 Triangle Adam and Eve locations where pleasure begins and passion never ends. Again, it is a gift basket. A little something in there for everybody. Our contestants are Micah in Morrisville and Zach from Raleigh. We need to ask a question to see who goes first. We'll start with Micah. What was the highlight of your weekend, Micah? We'll start with you, but it has to be sports related.
I would say seeing Travis Kelce lose was pretty cool. And then just seeing Jalen Hurts get rewarded was pretty sweet.
All right. I totally respect that. And Grant, like I was saying, a lot of people were cheering against the Chiefs as much as they were cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Seeing Travis Kelce lose was pretty cool. All right, let's go to Zach and Raleigh. Zach, same question for you. What was your highlight of this past weekend? But it has to be sports related.
I'm going to go away from the Super Bowl route. I'm going to say my UNCW Seahawks basketball team beating Delaware and maintaining the number 2 seed in the CAA, making a good push for making the NCAA tournament.
Okay, yeah, that game happened, I think it was on Thursday night, actually. So, extended weekend. Graham, as the producer of the show, I need your answer. Who goes first? What's your favorite answer between the two, between Micah and Zach?
Both answers are great. My caveat, though, is that my girlfriend's family's from Kansas City, so they're all Chiefs fans, and they now live in Wilmington. So to be on the safe side and reward myself and give myself some brownie points, we're going to go with Zach in support of the 910.
Okay, all right. Respect down to that one as well. All right, Zach, you get to go first. I'm going to give you the 4 categories. You'll tell me which one it is, and we'll go from there, all right?
Sounds good.
4 categories to choose from are NFL, all initial team. So there are initials in the player's name some way, shape, or form. Also, the NFL all-time Eagles, so all Philadelphia Eagles players. Also, NBA all-time rebounder, so these are players that are on the up near the top of the all-time rebounding list. And also, NHL Hurricanes only.
I'm going to go all-time Eagles.
Okay, all-time Eagles. So, again, these are all players. We know the team in which they played for, Zach, but I'm still going to say the name just to keep things fair and even for both sides. We're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. You're going to try and get as many as you can correctly. I'm going to give you the name of the player. I still am going to say the name of the team. Again, we all know it's Eagles, but give us the jersey number. Trying to get all 5 players or as many as you can in 30 seconds or less. Are you ready, Zach?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia Eagles.
26.
Correct. Donovan McNabb, Philadelphia Eagles.
5.
Correct. Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles.
Is it 82?
Incorrect. Zach Ertz, Philadelphia Eagles.
82.
Incorrect. Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles.
83.
Incorrect. Zach Ertz, Philadelphia Eagles.
84.
Incorrect. Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles.
Is it 17?
Correct. Nice. Okay, got that one in late. Alshon Jeffrey were 17, as you just got there at the end. Donovan McNabb, you got right with 5. Saquon Barkley, correct with 26. Zach Ertz, the tight end, 86.
Gotcha.
86. So super close on that one. Hey, 3's good. 3 is good. All right, so stay on the line. Let's see if your 3 holds up. Let's go ahead and get to Micah. All right, Micah, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, I think I know which one you're going to say, but I'm going to give the categories again. We have NFL All-Initial Team, NBA All-Time Rebounders, and NHL Hurricanes only.
NHL Hurricanes only.
Okay, so same thing. Micah, I know you know how this game works. 30 seconds on the clock. Got to beat the score of 3. You do get 1 pass. Any questions?
No, I'm good.
All right. Time will start when you hear the horn. Jacob Slavin, Carolina Hurricanes.
74.
Correct. Juha Jaska, Carolina Hurricanes.
46.
Incorrect. Victor Stahlberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
68.
Incorrect. Juha Jaska, Carolina Hurricanes.
54.
Correct. Victor Stahlberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Nicholas Nordgren, Carolina Hurricanes.
43.
Incorrect. Victor Stahlberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
25.
Correct. Nicholas Nordgren, Carolina Hurricanes.
62.
Incorrect. Got 3 there. You were close. You said 43. He was 44. Nicholas Nordgren were 44 for the Carolina Hurricanes. Close. You got 3 as well. I thought you were going to pull out. When you said 43, I was like, he's right there. I got 44. So, Micah, you come up short. Tie goes to whomever goes first. So, our winner in this one is Zach in Raleigh. Zach, congratulations. You're the winner of the numbers game, sir.
Go, appreciate that. Thank you for letting me go first. A little 910 shout out.
A little 910 shout out, which, by the way, congratulations to your Wilmington Seahawks. They're crushing it in basketball this year.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter until we make the tournament, man. I've been itching to make the tournament since 2015, so I think it's our year.
You know what? They have a pretty good shot. They have a pretty good chance of doing it. 20-5 on the season, by the way.
Strong, but I want that number 1 seed in the CAA before the tournament. That's my goal.
Got to take down Towson, which, by the way, you have Delaware to kind of finish out the year. Tim, who normally sits at the spot, is a Delaware grad, so you might have some competition. But I'm rooting for Wilmington in this one. I'm gonna go Seahawks. I know that's at the end of the year. There's a little time left.
The dub. Let's go.
We got to do it, man. The only problem is I'm scared our head coach is going to follow in Keats' lead right after.
Well,
maybe not to NC State.
Maybe not. Who knows? Let's actually. Let's.
I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, Zach, stay on the line. Graham's got to get some information from you. Congratulations on winning the numbers game. And enjoy. And again, an Adam and Eve gift basket. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so spice up your love life with a trip to Adam and Eve. Visit any 6 Triangle Adam and Eve locations where pleasure begins and passion never ends. Following in the steps of Kevin Keats, that you're implying that Keats would be fired after the season and NC State will look to hire a new coach. UNC Wilmington is where Kevin Keats last coached before coming to NC State.
You think he could go back
to Wilmington? I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm joking in all aspects, just because I don't want to call for somebody's job. But
no, I never do as well. But it really is an interesting situation, and you hear NC State fans asking for a change. You really do. And the good graces of the Final Four run from last year have worn off. Simple as that. The good graces of the Final Four run are gone. They're no longer there. So I don't know what's going to happen. I have to remember, I got to look and see what the buyout is going to be if they do decide to move on from Kevin Keats, because there is that. By making a run to the Final Four last year, there was escalators and extensions that kicked into his contract for Kevin Keats, which actually makes buying him out harder. If that's something that athletic director of NC State, Boo Corrigan, wants to do. Again, I don't know if that's something that's in the plans. I'm just simply stating what is. But that's where we are. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox here sitting in for Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox here for my good friends at Law Tigers. Folks, it's back. It's better than ever. You're probably asking, well, what's back? It's your chance to win a custom-built motorcycle. That's what it is, folks, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint, as well as your Carolina Hurricanes, are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Pretty simple to enter, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. Pictures of the bike are right there on the site. Again, caniacsbike.com. It's a custom-painted bike, custom-built motorcycle as well, so it's truly one of one, but it's painted in Carolina Hurricanes colors. You got the black and the red, the logos of the Canes, all that on there. It's a gorgeous bike. It's going to be given away on the ice at the final home game of the season. So the deadline to enter is April 6th, but don't wait. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Go enter to win. Again, it is caniacsbike.com. By the way, I know the weather's a little bit on the stinkier side right now, but when things do warm up, you're going to see a lot more motorcycles out there on the road, so be cognizant of that. But also, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call Law Tigers, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies want to pay you the least amount possible, whereas Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth. Your case evaluation is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Something that always comes out of the Super Bowl. Teams that try and copy what the champions did. Big takeaways of what the Carolina Panthers, but also what other teams are going to try and do following this win by the Philadelphia Eagles. Next.
Best idea for both of you this Valentine's Day? Adam and Eve. Everybody wins when you walk in with a gift from your local Adam and Eve store. Maybe you've been to one of our 6 Triangle locations. Maybe this is the reason you've been waiting for. Adam and Eve stores are filled with romantic, intimate gifts, from playful to passionate and everything in between. They'll even gift wrap it for you. Shop in store today and get a free gift with a qualifying purchase at your local Adam and Eve, where pleasure begins and passion never ends.
Something amazing is happening in workplaces everywhere. Devices are learning how people work and adapting to help them get more done. That's because CDW is modernizing experiences with Dell's intelligent portfolio of devices. Thanks to built-in security and AI capabilities, your teams can work smarter wherever they may be. Dell and CDW. Make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey friends, Paul Lyhander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting. Even if you miss the first few minutes of the game or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can make your picks from the first whistle until the final buzzer. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now's the perfect time to join. New FanDuel customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul and join today. That's FanDuel.com/Paul for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends February 13th. Join today for $1 down, $15 a month.
See Home Club for details.
Get ready. The Chatley Boat Show and Sale is coming to the State Fairgrounds February 14th through the 16th at the Car Scott Building. It'll be filled to the max with boats ready for immediate delivery featuring Suzuki outboards. Shop center console, runabouts, deck boats, bass boats, pontoons, aluminum boats, and more, all under one roof. Boat Show only savings, discounts up to $12,000, factory rebates, and special financing on site. The Chatley Boat Show and Sale, February 14th through the 16th at the Car Scott Building on the State Fairgrounds, featuring Suzuki outboards, free admission and parking.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people this all the time. If I am doing a commercial for somebody, I am vouching for who they are and what they do. You guys do great work, but your customer service stands above all the great work that you do.
Adam, I truly appreciate that testimonial. And yeah, we try to take pride in our customer service and meet and exceed our homeowners' expectations on all their home improvement needs. Obviously, there's many companies out there that do what we do. If you Google home improvements Raleigh, you're going to get many, many companies. But you're not going to find too many companies out there that have a 4.9 rating and over 800 Google reviews and over 7,000 Guild quality reviews. It takes a lot of work on our part to make sure we meet and exceed all your expectations on customer service. And we're going to continue to do so because that's why we've been in business since 1961.
I have used the Aluminum Company. I have not heard anyone that had anything but incredible things to say about all of you, and that is amazing. That's a testimony to how you guys do it. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
The bench is empty. The teams converge, and this one is over. And the Eagles have beaten the Chiefs convincingly in Super Bowl 59, 40-22.
By the way, coming up at 6 o'clock right here on 99.9 The Fan, it's going to be Wolfpack Weekly with head coach Kevin Keats coming back from their West Coast trip. So you'll be able to listen to that right here on 99.9 The Fan, trying to get his thoughts kind of wrapping things up, from the weekend and looking forward to the rest of the season for NC State basketball, which, by the way, NC State basketball, 8 games left on the season. They're back in action actually this Wednesday at home at Lenovo Center taking on Louisville. Louisville kind of another ACC team like Clemson, trying to hold on to a spot in the NCAA tournament, but nothing guaranteed for Louisville. Louisville can't afford to slip up. That's for darn sure. But I want to go back to last night, Super Bowl. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill producing the show. I want to go back to the Super Bowl and generally what we see in all sports. Everything's a copycat league. They say, right? NHL, copycat league. NBA, copycat league. NFL, copycat league. Baseball, copycat league, right? Everyone tries to mimic the teams that are successful, and, well, understandably so, right? Hey, that team just won a title. Well, we want to do the thing that they just did. Well, how did they do it? Well, let's try and do what they did. And you're trying to emulate that, right? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it gets you close. Sometimes you try and emulate, for example, in the NBA, you try and emulate what the Golden State Warriors are doing. It's like, well, yeah, but you also don't have Steph Curry. I understand that you're going to try and take a lot of three-pointers and stuff, but, yeah, you don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I know Klay Thompson's no longer there, but you understand my point. What did the Philadelphia Eagles do yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs? What did they do yesterday? Well, actually, it was more what they didn't do. They didn't blitz. They did not send more than 5 rushers at any point during the game yesterday. At any point. There are a couple times where if a linebacker blitzed, a defensive lineman dropped back, so it was still a 4-man rush. And that's what they did yesterday. That's what they did. They devoted so many resources into their front four. I touched on it earlier in the show. I want to make sure I run it back here So for you guys that may have missed it earlier today, understand what the Philadelphia Eagles have built defensively through the draft over the last 4 years. If you look at rounds 1, 2, and 3, so days 1 and 2 of the draft, so these are the high round picks, right? High round picks. In 2024, first round pick, Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, so defensive back, had 2 interceptions in the postseason as a rookie. Their second round pick in 2024, so just this past draft, Cooper DeJean, had, to me, the play of the game yesterday in the Super Bowl, that pick 6 that made it 17-0. Also, third round pick, Jalix Hunt, had a half a sack yesterday in the Super Bowl, also had the second highest pass rush win rate of any of the Eagles players yesterday. Second highest. Go to 2023, their first round pick. They draft Jalen Carter. He had 2 QB hits yesterday, draws a ton of double teams, also had a couple sacks in the playoff game against the Rams. Also a first round pick, Nolan Smith, defensive end, had 4 sacks in the postseason. Had a couple QB hits yesterday as well. Their third round pick, offensive lineman, Tyler Steen, started a couple games this year, provides offensive line depth. 2022, first round pick, Jordan Davis, had a sack in the Super Bowl as well as won the NFC title game. He's a big dude. He's like 6'6", 336. Massively large human being. Their second round pick, offensive lineman Cam Jurgens, starting offensive lineman, including moving over to center for Jason Kelce when Jason Kelce retired after last season. And Cam Jurgens made a Pro Bowl this year in his second year in the league. Their third round pick from 2022. I'm sorry, it's Jurgens' third year in the league. But their third round pick was linebacker Nakobe Dean, who's a starting middle linebacker, started 15 games for them this year, got hurt late in the season and was unable to play late in the year. Then in 2021, their first round pick, Devontae Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama, was 10th overall. He's a stud. He's good. Had a big 46-yard touchdown catch yesterday. Their second round pick, offensive lineman Landon Dickerson, starting interior offensive lineman who's made a Pro Bowl so far. Their third round pick, defensive tackle Milton Williams. 2 sacks yesterday, forced fumble recovery in the Super Bowl, also had a sack in the NFC title game against the Washington Commanders. So those are the last 4 years. The 12 players that I mentioned, 3 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, 3 offensive linemen, and a linebacker. 9 of those 12 players all around the football. They also drafted 2 defensive backs. Only mentioned 1 skill guy, 1 wide receiver. They've drafted 1 offensive skill guy in the first 3 rounds the last 4 years. That's it. 8 defensive players, 4 offensive players. 8 guys with hands in the dirt. Another off-ball linebacker that's staring right at the football from 5 yards away. Off-season, free agency. What are you going to see teams do? Especially these guys that might be free agents coming up for the Philadelphia Eagles. What are they going to do? They are going to sign, put a ton of money into those positions. So the premium and the price for these positions, guys who can get after the quarterback, goes up. The draft picks, by all accounts, is this draft loaded with defensive ends, defensive linemen, linebackers. This draft is loaded with it. You have to stock up now while you can, while it's still cost effective. And that's what teams around the NFL are going to do. People are going to pay a lot of money for defensive linemen after what they saw yesterday. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, Wolfpack Weekly with Kevin Keats. Big thanks to Graham Hill. Big thanks to you. We'll see you tomorrow on The Fan.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
In no way, shape, or form are the Dallas Mavericks title contenders. To me, it's more likely they don't make the playoffs than win a title. They're not winning a title. They're not getting to the finals. This is not a finals team by any stretch.